The Final Furlong Podcast is proudly brought to you by Jeff Banks Bet. Get up to £500 refunded as real money for new Jeff Banks online accounts after your first month of betting. Use promo code FFP500 at jeffbanks.bet.
Welcome back to the Final Furlong Podcast. Our countdown to Cheltenham continues, and I've got with us a man who is responsible for some of the biggest prize winners we've given you on the show, including last year at the Cheltenham Festival, Monmoral, and a horse who won the county hurdle at an absurd price for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend. Welcome back to the show, Aidan O'Hara.
Thanks, Emmet. Looking forward to it. Enjoyed last year.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you very much, by the way, for you're the second guest whose home I'm going to record a podcast this week. So thank you for facilitating this show as well.
Oh, that's no problem. You get to use some of the equipment I wasted a load of money on.
This setup is for the podcast you're doing with your brother, the excellent podcast Festival Focused.
Yeah, we just said I'd take me out of my comfort zone and do a bit of video. See how it goes.
Yeah, well, listen, faced for radio rating ideal. Even I'm doing the stuff for Sky, but still faced for radio rating ideal for me. So whatever you think about yourself, I can guarantee you I'm much more comfortable on the audio than the rest. We're going to go through every Cheltenham race. We're going to see which races you think there's a real big, interesting outsider and where you think there's a really strong favourite as well.
Yeah.
So we'll begin with the now Michael O'Sullivan Supreme Novices Hurdle. Jeff Banks Bet goes 6-5 on about the favourite Kopek de Boorts, who was flawless at the Dublin Racing Festival. He was jumping like a drunken monkey first time out, but on his second start at Leopardstown, he had 10.72 lengths gain jumping, according to the Race IQ data. That was the highest figure of any horse at the Dublin Racing Festival. He was flawless at the DRF, and he was the only horse to win sub 4 minutes over obstacles at the DRF for the entire weekend. So that was a monstrous performance. Does he deserve to be such a short price favourite?
Yeah, he deserves to be very short anyway. Like about evens is probably right. He does easily look like the most reliable. He looks like the most obvious winner of it. And I'm the first person to want to be going against these, right? It doesn't mean I don't like. It still gives him 50% chance only. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean I don't like some other ones in it. I actually don't really like any of the huge price ones in this. And with these races, for me, I am not going to be backing anything now, because you know what's going to happen on the day. Someone is not going to I've one of Willie Mullins that I kind of like, which I had actually never heard of and hadn't watched the video until today, right?
So this is a Final Furlong exclusive.
Yeah. This Irancy.
Okay.
That looked hugely impressive to me now.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the time did. I'm not that interested in the time. It was the way he was flicking over the hurdles, right? So I'm interested in him. So he's the third choice, Willie Mullins. Going on my experience in Cheltenham, that horse can go off anything from 8-1 to 25, 33-1. And at the moment he's say 14, 16-1, that kind of thing. And he's been backed all right. So I'm interested in him. But I think I want a bigger. I want to wait until the day. Also, Work Ahead was very impressive. So those two for me are even a touch of value now, even at their prices, 10, 12-1, that kind of thing. But it's the Irancy particularly has just come into my head today now, just because I watched it, and there's something about it. He's impressive looking, and he was a novice last year. He was third in that Firefox Ballyburn race. But he beat that horse that won the handicap. Was it the Thames qualifier?
Will the Wise. He's won twice since.
Yeah, but he's absolutely. I mean, he was miles clear of him. There was no effort, nothing. But it was the jumping for a novice, especially around Cheltenham. On that, it's the old course the first day, isn't it?
Yeah.
The jumping has to be good. I thought his jumping was very good. So I'll be waiting to see what prices those two are. I mean, there was even Tripoli Flyer. I kind of watched a couple of his races, and he looks impressive as well. He's basically hammered the English horse a few times. I'm not entirely sure. He's rated low, so you'd wonder would he. I don't think he's been entered for a handicap, but I'm not sure there was a hell of a difference in him and the new line. Only Skelton does a better actor's impression of not moving. You know what I mean? He loves one that. And if you look at New Line again, he had to actually get him going first and then sit like a statue, which is what he kind of likes to do. So I didn't think I wouldn't be surprised if Tripoli Flyer was decent. But at the moment anyway, I'm gonna take a punt on the day at Work Ahead or Ansi. One of those two is gonna be a price.
I find interesting. Jeff Banks bet has gone 12-1 about Rancy, and I was expecting a much bigger price than that. So he's
been backed. Obviously, people have done the same thing I did and actually looked at the races and had a look at him. I mean, you never know whether he's going to be going or not. This is the thing. It seems likely he's going, but it's hard to tell. But say I would much prefer him. I had seen the Kiss Will race before and all those, and I'd much prefer him than those now. So he's come into my head. We'll see what price. Hopefully, so he's Willie Mullins, but he's is he?
He'd be Mark Walsh's right.
Yeah, he's going to be Mark Walsh right. So he's unlikely to go off big price.
Katie Young has talked him up a few times on the show, which I found interesting. I'm pretty sure Barry Doyle said something nice about him as well last week too. But Kate has definitely highlighted him a few times, and she's a real good judge of horse. So
he looks like a bull as well. I'd say he might have needed the extra year or whatever he had there. But he's interesting. So I'm hoping maybe he gets 16-1 on the day, which you can get now.
Well, sometimes you can look at these races and you see a dominant favourite, particularly in the novice races, and you try and talk yourself into your gut is telling you the favourite's going to win. But the more you look at them, the more you start thinking, well, actually, Romeo Coolio's got Cheltenham form, and actually, Work Ahead won at a similar time to Copic de Boards, and maybe. I think the more you look at this race, this fella just goes and wins.
He probably does, and I tell you, don't get me wrong now. I like a long shot, but on the day, I guarantee for sure he'll be in those accumulators that I have. Because when you're going yourself, I still think he's obviously by far the most likely winner, and he looks really impressive. I'm only trying to find something that would have some chance of being as good as him, and the only ones I can see in the whole field are Work Ahead and Aranci.
Tell us
So
you can.
I'll take a punt. You never know either. But I just wouldn't. Not at 6-1. Yeah, I think you're taking a similar gamble. To Salvador Mundi, Work Ahead and Aranci is a similar gamble type that they have to improve, and they haven't shown their best yet. So I'd prefer to take the 16-1, 10-1 or whatever about Work Ahead and Irancy and that kind of thing than I would 5-6-1. I'm looking, of course, at the Racing Post website. Doesn't be great with the way it does the odds. But so I'm looking at the price. Salvador Mundi seems 6-1 doesn't seem value to me much.
I have a feeling Copic de Boards is going to drift because the more bookmakers get their layers on the machine, they're going to start saying to themselves, well, they've got Romeo Coolio, Salvatore Mundi, Work Ahead, William Money, Aranci, they've got Tripoli Flyer going for them as well. For all that there's going to be confidence behind him, like he's already shorter than Duvan and Vittor, like absolute superstars. I can't see him being the same price that Appreciated was, because that was a really weak Supreme.
No, you're definitely going to be getting evens on the day. 6-4, 5-4, just because it's the first race. They know it's all coming back in the Ultima when everyone has a loser anyway. It doesn't matter what you pick in this. Like that isn't he is going to be a bigger price. And I think for a small punter like me, there's probably going to be offers, in the 10 and 20 quid, and a few of the bookies you get 6-4, even 7-4.
Yeah.
But I think he'll generally be more than evens. I'd be sure of it.
Yeah, I'd be amazed if he's not.
Unless I never much for bothering with stable gambles, but he shouldn't be less than evens, I don't think, unless somebody just knows. And it's very hard to tell yet.
Well, he has been odds on for both of his starts, and he's been very, very impressive in what he's done so far. But deeper race, I think he wins. The only thing that's a slight concern to me is Work Ahead is going to make the running. And I would imagine Paul Townend is just going to sit behind Rachel Blackmore and say, right, you told me into this race, you be my pacemaker. Townend is the best jockey in Britain and Ireland, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I'd say there's not much.
However, he does have a habit of getting into a pace battle. He did it on Facile Vega, poor old Facile Vega against High Definition. He did it this year with Danny on Stateman against Lossiemouth. For a jockey, it's brilliant to see him. He can get tied up in a pace battle, and if those two cut each other's throats early on, then they will set it up for something like Romeo Coolio to come through. But I'm hoping he just sits behind Rachel, goes, right, you go make the running for me, tow me into the final turn, and then bye-bye.
Well, I'm hoping, I wouldn't mind if Rachel was going off in front on this Work Ahead now. Judging by the looks of him, it's probably going to suit him, We'll see. Very interesting race, anyways, for sure.
Can't wait for it. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. Okay, Arkle.
Yeah.
Short price favourite again. Majborough 13-8 on, looking to capitalise on the absence of Sergino for the second year in a row. 2 from 2 over fences. Grade 1 winner of the Irish Arkle last time out.
Yeah.
Does he deserve to be as short a price as he is?
This now, I'm not sure why he's going to be on the day. He won't be 8 to 13. He'll be longer than that anyway.
I think so too.
But the only trouble with this race is I'm kicking myself a small bit, and that it was kind of obvious yesterday and the day before that it was going to be only 5 runners in it. And I looked, I couldn't make enough of a case for anything else. I know what's going to happen, and I can see it already. And now I'm raging, right, that San Salvador will go for this because he only stays 2 miles. And there's no way he's beating Jordan's, or will like Joseph O'Brien have a few in that novice handicap thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't stay 2.5 miles. He'd end up going for this. We're looking at the 100 to 1, and I just kept changing my mind, and now it's too late, and he can keep it. Do you know what I mean? Because he likes good ground, you see. He probably will run okay in it. But it's not, forget it, 3 places are gone. We're too late. I sat on it too long. And I think Load of Sod isn't as good as he seemed. To me, because I think Touch Me Not might have beat him. I might have got very close in Sandown, and I don't think he likes the really soft ground either. Remember, he half the fence.
Yeah,
there wasn't. I don't think there was that much between them that time. Like Load of Sod is a good horse. Believe me, he's rated 152. We'll get to the county hurdle later, and Absurd beaten Load of Sod very handily last year when he had like a stone in hand. But he's good. But Masborough. His jumping last time was decent. He doesn't really look like fall. He's kind of a cute enough jumper, and I can't see anything this fast enough. As much as I don't want to back him at that. And actually, when you look at it, I'm not entirely sure he's going to go off. I don't think he mightn't get evens on this thing. There had to be a killer for multiples. I'm not sure they'll do that. So it's a race for me to actually leave. So many of them are not going. I mean, you basically have 5 runners max, I think, which isn't... I mean, I'll want to see it, but the place value has probably been missed a bit. But I don't think Load of Sod is going to be good enough, regardless.
I have a sneaky feeling that this race is going to be an upset, but it's not. It's not a logical thing.
It's the Arkle, sure. They're going fast. That can happen.
It's the Arkle. He's a 5-year-old. 5-year-olds don't have a great record in it. He's gone and made the running in both of his chase starts, and nothing has touched him. He's never had his jumping tested at any point. And Load of Sod is coming into it on the back of 4 chase starts. It seems to me like Dan Skelton said, how do we win the Arkle? We'll win it with experience. And his performance at Cheltenham was brilliant. If you stopped the Warwick race between the 3rd last and the 2nd last, you think, my God, this is a machine. If you only watched it from the 2nd last to the final, to the winning line, you'd be going, Jesus, he was lucky to win.
Yeah, man, did he not? I know it's Absurd that beat him, and he probably also had a stone in hand, but I wouldn't be that sure he finishes that well. Now, that's not the only time. That Sandown race looked like he was going to absolutely hose up.
Yeah.
But Touch Me Not was... I'm not sure. I know what I'll be doing on the day. I'll be back in Touch Me Not anyway. Just because I'm not going to back Masborough. I'm going to be on the course. I'm going to pick the 8 to 1 Touch Me Not, and I'm going to back it, and that's it in the 5-runner field, because he's going to go flying off in front. He probably... I don't think there'll be much between him and Load of Sod anyway. So if Load of Sod is say 4 to 1 or something like that, and Touch Me Not is say 8, 9 to 1, I don't know what he is now.
Jeez,
they haven't totally...
I'd be disappointed if Load of Sod can't bury Touch Me Not. Like that race at Sandown was horrible ground. Which wouldn't have really... It probably didn't suit both of them.
Then didn't suit either of them, no.
But you're also having to climb up that hill as well.
But like when I look at his form, what has he actually done though? So he hasn't beaten anything yet, really. The one time he came up against good horse was Absurd. He was beaten.
I could say the same about Masborough.
Oh, you could, but well, that race, well, he's won the Triumph.
Oh yeah,
and he's also
for sure.
And like he beat Touch Me Not by 9 lengths, and Firefox really makes that farm seem decent. Firefox is very straightforward, very good jumper. It's probably the best farm anyway, for sure.
This is off the top. I probably could look this up, but off the top of my head, I'm going to say when Load of Sod won the race at Sandown, I think he jumped 14 fences that day. You're going to have to fact check me on this. This could be Russian misinformation. Masborough jumped 11 at the DRF. So there was more of a test for Load of Sod, and it was on the soft ground, and it's up that stiff uphill climb. I'm not sure that 3 1/4 lengths actually reflects how good he is.
Yeah, maybe not. I wouldn't be backing him. Be 7 to 2, 4 to 1.
I wouldn't.
I think Masborough, as much as I hate that kind of odds on, it's only going to be a 5-horse race. He has more scope for improvement as well, Masborough, because he's only ran a few times.
Yeah.
Very hard to tell. Look, it's not actually, for the likes of me, it's not a hugely, it's obviously interesting to watch, but it's not a hugely interesting betting race, only that I'll be throwing me, 10 quid and in the bookies on the course on Touch Me Not, hoping he'll go off in front and at least beat Longshots, which I'm not sure there's much in it.
I have a sneaky feeling this is going to be some scumbag each way play for me on Longshots in some ridiculous multiple that if it manages to click, then great.
But you've only 2 places though. You should have thought that.
We can still get 3.
Should have done it yesterday.
You can still get 3.
Yeah.
There are bookmakers still doing it. It will. This is a limited time offer, I would say.
But if you can get 3, I'd be wanting San Salvador at like 66 to 1 with 3 places there, just because if the ground is really good, even though on the face of it he doesn't really have much of a chance. The last time against Longshots, he's travelling really well. I don't know. He's a horse that I think will be suited by the Arkle. Doesn't matter. I won't go near it with 2 places.
On the odds comparison sites, I can see there is one bookmaker.
Yeah, see, I won't look at those ones that have the wrong. If I'm going to be tipping it, I need it in like most of the bookies.
There's 2 bookmakers who are paying 3 places in the Arkle, and one of them is Jeff Banks Bet. 3 places in the Arkle right now.
And what is San Salvador on 3 places? Okay, so will you have 20? And I'm going to hand you the money now because I haven't got a Jeff Banks Bet account.
Sign up!
Because you're getting 20 to 1 in a 5-horse race for him to finish in the first 3 where they're flying around in the Arkle. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
And Joseph O'Brien, I did this before, and how many years ago was it? I had cottoned on to this unfortunately a bit earlier. Joseph O'Brien moved what horse to the JLT, and he ended up finishing 2nd or 3rd, and there was only 3 or 4 runners.
Was it the horse who was placed in the Supreme as a juvenile?
Oh no, was it the time it was Galloping the Shams Fallen, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Bustleton.
Bustleton, yes, we will be getting to Bustleton later on.
Oh my
Bustleton,
God. Why did you bring up Galloping Form?
I backed Bustleton at 100 to 1 each way, 3 places, like 2 days beforehand. And it's not Bustleton's better than San Salvador, but he's not totally. He's going to bounce off the ground. So anyone who has Jeff Banks Bet, fill him in there with the 100 to 1 for the crack. Anyway, I mean it's a fun bet. It's to have something on the day.
Yeah,
and I'm kicking myself that I missed out on it. But
5th of the odds, 3 places. Jeff Banks.bet. Use your promo code FFP500. You're also eligible for 10% back of any net losses after your first month of betting, up to £500. No net losses at Cheltenham though, because Aidan O'Hara is going to give you all the winners, and we're going to be flying in the money. And one of them could be San Salvador. 3 places, 100 to 1.
Well, I'm going to open my account. And my first bet is going to be, I better hurry up. Well, this isn't live, so I can back it.
No, you have time. You have time by the time this goes live.
Right.
For the record, this is 7 o'clock Monday, the 3rd of March, as we're recording this.
Yeah. We better go on to the next one, I suppose. But unfortunately, I kind of missed the boat with that.
Yeah, because we'll race you on to getting your Jeff Banks Bet account sorted out then as well. Okay, Ultima. This is a race we're still trying to figure out who's going to be lining up.
Yeah.
Still a fair bit to get our head around. Talked to Paul Ferguson about this the other day. Whistle Stop Shore, he's a big fan of. He's an 11 to 1 shot with Jeff Banks Bet. What about you?
I have one of the things I have in this meeting, and I probably won't be changing, is I think Paul Nicholls has cottoned on to the handicapper is dropping all these horses for very fast. And there's one of them in this. Stay Away Faye. Now it's farmed a high love. Like pulled up. You can't beat that if you want a price, right? But I just think this is a good non-runner no bet play, because that horse is in the national. He's obviously a capable horse. He won the Alfred Bartlett, didn't he? And things had gone wrong last year. I think he had a wind issue the last 2 races last year, something like that, right?
He blew out in the Brand Advisory. He was a big
and I mean, he just threw him into air, and that Ayr Grand National because he was one of his only horses he could get into it or something like that. And they were trying for the... So that didn't suit him, understandably. But he then he's running a hurdle race before Christmas. Now he's run okay, and then he's kind of pulled up. But it just smacks of that he's been prepared for an end of season target. I know he's in the National, and the National will be one of the things as well. Now he's on a proper mark. He's going to be very low weight in the National. But I just think he's a big price, and he's a classy horse. I can forgive the 2 runs last year simply because I think he had a wind issue in both and probably didn't stay the Grand National. So they will have been preparing him for the Grand National this year. And the usual way, the best way to prepare for the Grand National is run well at Cheltenham beforehand. I just like it. He's classy. He's a classy horse. I know he's a couple of pulled ups, but I can find... All I'm ever trying to do is find the reason why it's not a price.
Well, he's third to Capitano and the Real Whacker in the Cotswold Chase
loads
last
of good. Year. He's plenty good for him.
He beats poor old Giovinco. He beats the Changing Man, who's favourite for this race. And then he's pulled up, second run after a wind up. 33-1 with Jeff Banks bet.
Yeah, I like it. And we'll see what else happens. See, does he go first? It's a good non-runner no bet play, I think, because I don't think Paul, if he's pretty serious about him in the Grand National. Paul Nicholls he's got 4 or 5 in it this year, and I think he has them all ready to go for that race, which means they need to be ready for Cheltenham. Then normally, if you want to run well in the National, you've got to be nearly there at Cheltenham. You got to know where you are anyway. Generally, they do anyway. So I like him. The other one I like is an Irish horse that didn't get put up at all. Trying to find it. Melina Girl. I know we can't, but
I think Irish horses will really struggle in the handicap chases this year.
I think they will as well, and it's probably going to be my only Irish horse that's a pick, but it hasn't gone up at all. It's +0 in the English handicapper, and it has some good form around Cheltenham now. This thing has absolutely smashed up a few last year on the bridle, November 2023. Then it's fallen in the race of Broadway By, going really well as well. It stays. It's just, I mean, I know it's the Gavin Cromwell thing as well, no matter what. You know, this will have been a plan.
Yeah.
I just like it, but I'm not as much. I mean, for me, I'm hoping Paul Nicholls is going to do me a favour now. In some of these races. I mean, I have a kind of an app that's a Paul Nicholls horse as well, but I do like Melina Girl as well. But I can see some of the prices I wouldn't be interested in. It's down to 14, 16 to 1 in places. I think this is more a 20, 25 to 1 chat.
It's funny how when you talk to somebody who points out something blatantly obvious that you hadn't considered at all, I'm pretty sure I just put a line through Stay Away Faye, and now all I can do is think about how far he's going to win this race by. 33 to 1. Yeah. We'll go to the Mares race, the Close Brother Mares Hurdle. Confirmed today that Brother Days Ahead is indeed going to go for the champion hurdle. That's fantastic. Lossiemouth then becomes the default favourite. Hopefully she goes for the champion as well. So
yeah, she will.
She should do. That's been the plan for 2 years, they've been saying. So Jade de Grugy essentially heads the market then at 15-8 with Jeff Banks bet. July Flower now a 4 to 1 shot for the Bromhead team. Cargizi we think is going to go to the county hurdle 7s, and Golden Ace 10 to 1. She's headed to the champion hurdle. They've tried over further. She doesn't stay. Calaconti would be interesting at 14s with Jeff Banks bet. She is significantly shorter elsewhere. Thoughts on the mares?
Well, I thought I had this totally sorted, this mares race. Now, it's not out of the question yet, but I was really, really positive on Gala Marceau first.
Yeah, you were.
And it just looks like on Betfair, she's not going to go for it. Now, it's Willie Mullins. It's probably because the owners have both Cargisi and Jade Grugy. But Gala Marceau's form is the equal of any of those. I have to, it's basically it's beaten Lossiemouth and has been beaten by Lossiemouth. I had thought it was a soft ground horse, but when I looked into it, her 2 poor performances are actually on heavy ground, and that French champion hurdle that she whatever it was a French grade 1 anyway, that she sluiced up in and beat, I can't remember the name of the horse now, beat the one who hasn't hardly lost a race since.
Losange Bleu.
Yeah, beat Losange Bleu by 7 lengths on the bridle. Was on O'Teal or whatever it's called, very soft. Yeah, but I looked at the time of the race and there's absolutely no way it was soft ground. Yeah. It was decent ground. And then that Losange Bleu has gone and absolutely kicked July Flower out of the way twice after that by 4 and 5 lengths. So this would be a serious bet for me now. I think that's a proper, really good chance of actually winning as well. It's not just it might scrape into a place thing. But that said, it's not going to go for it. Now, if you're saying Cartesi might go to the county where it can't win.
Well, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, you see, it's very hard to tell. Right? It is actually impossible to tell. But at the moment, Gala Marceau is very big on Betfair. Now, that doesn't really... Willie Mullins himself doesn't know where those horses are going. And anything can happen. Something like Jade DeGruzzi's only run once.
Wasn't made until the very late last
year. So at the moment it's not no bet anyway, and I'd be ultra happy with that as a no bet, because if it doesn't run, you get your money back. If that's running against the field that's left, Jesus, I really fancy it. No, I do really fancy it. Just because we've underestimated the farm there.
Well, I asked Danny Mullins about it the other day, because I know you fancy the horse quite a bit. I'll put it this way, he wasn't dismissive of her. He wasn't saying, no chance.
I don't know how you could. Her farm, other than too many runs on heavy ground, like, there's nothing wrong with her farm. I mean, that Warwick thing didn't look great. That was 2 mile 5 on soft ground, and it didn't look great. That wasn't one of those days. Didn't look great. It wasn't backed. It was sent off evens. It should have been 1-6 or something like that.
Yeah, you knew from the betting.
And a few of those horses, is she 5 or she 6?
I'll big myself up here. That's a race I'm very familiar with, because I backed Royal Margot and tipped her on the podcast as well at 20-1. One of the reasons I was tipping Royal Margot is, first of all, she had the form with Joyeuse and Wadu, but secondly, you kind of knew this is a race Gala Marceau was going to need. She's just going to need this. And for whatever reason, Willie's horses have been struggling in Britain this year. They just haven't been doing it this season, including, there was a decent horse ran in the novice hurdle the other day, got placed, but they're not tearing it up yet. But when
it's not their first runs.
Yeah, exactly. They'll improve immensely. Cargese is another example of that. She kind of blew her top at Ascot the other day and will improve, but it sounded from what the team were saying the other day, that Cargese will appreciate 2 miles on the new course at Cheltenham back to the Triumph Hurdle track, big fields, 2 miles in the county hurdle off a pretty decent rate. And if Cargese is going to the county hurdle, then surely Gala Marceau ends up here.
I really hope so, because I'm just looking like last time out beat by 2 lengths in the Triumph Hurdle. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's just she has the best form in the whole race, except for a couple of runs on heavy ground and her first run back this year. I mean, her last run last year in Punchestown, again, she was second to Lossiemouth. And Lossiemouth is a completely different level than any of these mares. Completely different. There's no comparison. She's 20 pounds clear of most of them.
If she lines up, she's a certainty.
Yeah, she's certainly. She won't be lining up. They've won it already last year. It'd be pointless.
Unless Richie doesn't really have anything this year.
He doesn't, but she's going to champion hurdle.
Yeah,
because they won't be afraid of. We'll do that next.
Yeah, but also Townend is probably going to win the race anyway, and Jade DeGruzzi. And I spoke to Willie Mullins that day. He was adamant she would improve, but she was going to badly need that run at Punchestown. So you might look at that and go, "Oh, that was all right, but it wasn't great." It's a career best effort from a horse that was expected to badly need the improvement.
Except it was fourth in the Mayor's Novice last year.
Jeez.
along with Briar Days Ahead. Anyway, that's I won't be. I'm not for turning on that Gala Marceau anyway for the moment.
Okay, how Golden Ace beat Brighter Days Ahead and Jade DeGruzzi, I've absolutely no idea. Maybe we're missing a trick. She's 40-1 for the champion hurdle. Maybe the game is easy. Just back her. But the betting is headed by Constitution Ale, who bids to be only the third horse in history to regain a champion hurdle crown, the latest since Hurricane Fly. He's the 11-8 on favourite with Jeff Banks bet. Confirmed for the race, Brighter Days Ahead, 2-1 second favourite. Lossiemouth now out to 6-1. Barry Doyle nearly had me completely convinced to just back Lossiemouth. He was so convincing in the show last week. I'm not quite there yet.
Is that no bet or
6-1? Not non-runner, no bet.
Okay, yeah.
Not
you probably have
bet.
to, yeah.
But 6-1, if you can hold the faith, she probably does go. State Man is 8-1. I'd want 80s. He looks gone.
He does ish. There's no each way in this anyway, because even if the top 3 horses are 20 pounds below their best, they're beating everything else in that race. And State Man, if he's a stone below his best, is finishing fourth. It doesn't matter what none of the other ones do. So it's not an each way race. The way I think that's what's going to happen here is the same in every Cheltenham strong market. Whichever of those 3 you fancy, right? you are going to get a bigger price than what they are now. Definitely on the day.
Yeah.
Constitution Hill is probably going to go off odds against. I'd be fairly sure that'll go off odds against. Brighter Days Ahead might be shorter, maybe, but people will take opinions on it because it's a very good 3-horse race. I'm going to just take a shot when the market's at its strongest. No, I'll have no problem backing Constitution Hill at like 5-4 or something like that. No problem, right, on the day. I won't. I think he's easily the most likely winner. What I'll probably really be looking for is Lossiemouth to get to the... I think Lossiemouth will go off something 6-7 to 1 mark, unless they're very confident in the Mullins camp. And judging on the run that she's already run against Constitution Hill, I wouldn't have much to fear now from Constitution Hill from that run. Lossiemouth was out the back, struggling all the way, and still closing down at the end. And the Boinville had to get relatively serious on Constitution Hill. So I'm not that it doesn't really matter if he's within 10 pounds of his best. None of this really matters. But you'd imagine Brighter Days Ahead. On the face of it, that looked like the most amazing run we'd seen since another one I'm going to bring up was a similar run that didn't win the Champion Hurdle either. But if you try and think of a horse, right, that has put a run like that has run that way and won by 20 lengths in an unbelievable time, and you see how many horses can you fill one hand with them ever doing it again? I bet you're going to struggle. I can't think of one.
Is this not just Apple's Jade all over again?
It's
wildly
not only
impressive
Apple's Jade.
in the Irish
it's not only
Champion Hurdle.
Apple's Jade. It's Apple's Jade. It's that 2 mile chaser Nichols had. Masterminded. I had a list of 5 or 6 now earlier on today. The only one that's done it more than once is Constitution Hill, probably in the Supreme and the Champion Hurdle. That's it. And he's only done it twice. And I don't think any of the other horses. Masterminded strike. He won the following year, okay. He won by 5 or 6 lengths. Actually, it was better than I remembered.
But he got battered by Voice Days in the milling on the next chase.
It was nothing like the original one. And putting those performances together, going on, I'm not a stats man, but going on, do it again. You'd want 4 to 1 or something. It just doesn't happen. They never do it. Now, hopefully, she will do. I'd love to see her King of Kingsfield career off in front. Her to be 18 lengths clear, turning in. The rest of them start rowing, and she just sail up the hill. I will enjoy that more than anything because I won't have a huge. I'm a big gambler, but I would have it as a huge negative that she's won by in the fastest time like ever in Leopardstown or whatever it was.
Beware wide margin winners in their next start.
Well, it just grieving grade. Well, it just doesn't happen. It hasn't happened. Constitution Hill is the only one. The only one I can think of that has put up a huge performance, and I would say his performance in the Supreme was a good bit better than his performance in the Champion Hurdle, I think. But we don't really know. It's very hard to tell. I know Stateman won the following year, but God, like what Zanahiyr was third. That's another one that I'd backed that Zanahiyr for 3 places. I've really missed the boat in the Arkle. But
that was our play for him with Dennis O'Regan a couple of years ago as well. We did the same thing.
So I would be worried about Brighter Days Ahead doing that. I've seen it. I'm around a while, as you can see from the fact I have no wrinkle filter yet on the screen on the camera, but that I would be worried about that. I know what's going to happen on the day. I'm going to back Lossiemouth just because I'm there. I'm going to back in every race, and I'm probably going to get interest in Lossiemouth 5-6 to 1.
But you were saying, so you're slightly confusing me. You were saying that odds against Constitution Hill would be
I'd say anything. Yeah, it would be interesting, but if Constitution Hill is odds against, Lossiemouth is not going to be. It's going to be one or the other.
Okay.
If people back Constitution Hill, there's no way it's going to stay 4 to 6, 2 to 1, 4 to 1 when the full market is there. It just won't. Lossiemouth will be higher. Constitution Hill will be longer. Brighter Days Ahead will be backed in. Something will happen. I think they all have a chance, and you should set your price and be prepared to back any 3 of them that are value. And that's what will happen. Certainly one of those 3 is going to be valued. There's not doubt in the world about it.
I need to do a full deep dive into the Race IQ data. Paige Fuller's on the show on Friday, so she's going to supply us with all the key information you need for Cheltenham 2025. But there's a headline here. Constitution Hill approached his obstacles almost a whole mile per hour quicker on average in the Christmas Hurdle 2024 than in 2023.
No, he's nothing like he was. That doesn't mean he's still not going to win, though.
No, she's saying he
faster.
He might be better.
Oh, right. I thought you were saying the opposite. He was a mile an hour slower. We don't know. It probably has, the likes, Lossiemouth might be getting to £7, might be his toughest opponent he's had.
Here's a full breakdown. Constitution Hill, jump index 8.8, consistently high level jumper, best top speed in the field, strong finishing kick, handles any ground. Brighter Days Ahead excels in soft heavy ground, max entry speed of 34.29, is elite, one of the strongest finishers. Lossiemouth, fastest closing sectionals, handle testing conditions well, gets the £7 weight allowance. Will probably get an ideal pace setup as well. State Man's jump index has collapsed, basically. He's gone from being one of the best jumpers to being one of the worst. That's probably
he's
contributed
capable.
by
It's
the
Willie
Irish
Mullins,
champion
though.
hurdle.
He's capable of getting it back. But the rest of them it's going to be hard for him because he might get back to last year and maybe beat Lossiemouth, because I think they think in the stable that Lossiemouth's never going to beat State Man, but I wouldn't believe that now. You never know, but
I've heard
one
that.
of Constitution.
Have you heard
Hill,
about those gallops as well?
Yeah, but they don't mean anything.
Yeah, they really
one
don't.
of
I was told Hurricane Fly had no chance when he was going for his 5th Irish champion hurdle, and thankfully I managed to ignor the nonsense.
Yeah. Gallops mean very little. They're not, it's not full pace. So you just pick, you wait until the day, or wait until you have in your mind, okay, I want to back Constitution Hill at 5-4 or 11-10 or something like that.
So for someone who's watching now, is the bet 6-1 Lossiemouth in your mind?
The bet is no, because it's not no bet. It's switchy.
We know she's going there.
We do. I know she's going there. It doesn't matter. I prefer to be there on the day and back 5-1 than I would 6-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Cheltenham, there's a 0.05 chance that Willie Mullins is going to issue Lossiemouth, something's happened. Do you know what I mean? You just can't. It's too close to be not going. I think.
If Vitor was going for the Gold Cup.
Yeah, it's too close. And same with Gallimar. So as I said earlier, you're better off. That she's an honour no bet play, all right, but you kind of need to be, unless you want to be 100% sure. And the price would want to be. I'd want a big difference. And I suppose 6-1, 4-1, it is a big difference. But I just think you're going to get value on one of those 3 horses on the day. If you're prepared to have an open mind and will back any of them at the price that you think is value. So if you want to back Constitution Hill, okay, he's going to hit 11-10 somewhere. The bookie's going to give that away because Brighter Days Ahead's faster, all this kind of thing. Back Constitution Hill, Brighter Days Ahead gets backed. Lossiemouth goes out to 8-1 or something ridiculous on Betfair. You never know. You just have to pick. You set your price and go for one of them and enjoy the race. Does remind me of that race though. Many years ago? It's 5 years ago. So it was Apples Jade.
Oh,
there were
Lorena.
3. Lorena, and there was somebody else. Who else was it?
Bouvedere. They all bombed out.
And they all got absolute. And it like
Espoir Delen, the poor old thing.
So anyway, we'll see. But anyway, look, I'm going to be on the day on that one because something will go funny in the market. Not doubt in the world about it.
I can't wait to take this Brighter Days Ahead on.
Yeah,
well,
as I said,
think she's going to drive. I'm not sure you're right about him going odds against, but I'm absolutely certain he's going to drift to evens. I'm absolutely certain, because all you're hearing on the Cheltenham preview circuit is, Brighter Days Ahead, sure, she only has to turn up, sure, she's a machine. And I think there's going to be a reading into this that because they're going for the champion hurdle, that means they think they can win. They have to go for the champion hurdle.
She's a chaser anyway. They're not even going to go hurdling next year, so they may as well go for the champion hurdle and lose and win the Arkle or whatever the hell or they want to win next year if they're going chasing with her. It doesn't really matter. She had to go. I was 100% confident the 3 of them are going to end the story anyway.
And remember, she went to Cheltenham last year. She was backed into odds on against the Mullins horse, Jade de Grugy, who they were convinced couldn't be beaten. She gets punted into odds on. She gets beaten.
Yeah, there's not a lot of excuses for that either, I don't think.
She was beaten at Cheltenham, and now there's this blinded, no, she's going to turn it around. She beat State Man, who to me looks gone.
Yeah.
She beat Winter Fog last time out. Constitution Hill destroys Burdett Road.
But that does bring it down a bit. Burdett Road is good and all, but that does, it puts a ceiling on it a small bit.
I don't think so. He's 9 lengths back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too critical of that. he destroys Lump Sum, who comes out and finishes second off a top weight.
Oh yeah, and Lump Sum. I'm going to get into Lump Sum in a while there.
And he'd been second to Sergino in the Fighting Fifth as well.
Yeah. No. That was a good run, but if you didn't know those horses and that was some trial, you would be thinking, God, Lassie might turn the tables next time around. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you might.
She's the one I'd be afraid of.
Yeah, that's what I said. My most likely bet on the day is I'm going to back Lassie Mouth at 11-2, 6-1, 7-1 or something on Betfair Exchange, just because lads have gone absolutely bonkers. Irish are all back in prior days ahead. The English are laughing because it's Constitution Hill is a 1-3. And I think that there's going to be that market's going to be interesting.
There is another aspect. You're 100% right about that. There's another aspect to this as well. I don't get this whole British-Irish thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm more than happy to wave the tricolour and brag about Irish success at Cheltenham and blah, blah, yakety schmackety. I don't bet on a horse because it's trained in Ireland. I bet on a horse because I think it's the best horse in the race. I don't care whether it's a Union Jack or a tricolour that was being waved afterwards.
Good God. I said I'm around a while. I was laughing at the prices of the Irish horses like 15, 20 years ago. And back in English horse in like every race. I never picked an Irish horse because it's just value. Everything was an Irish favourite, and they were winning 2 or 3 races a year. Yeah. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I backed so little Irish horses. I mean, I did get involved at the course on the old Ruby Tuesday a number of times and things like that. But in general, for a long, long time, I was having a good laugh. That's one of the reasons Cheltenham was profitable years ago. Yeah. That if you're prepared to just ignore all that. You know what I mean?
Go against the crowd.
Yeah. Anyway, the easiest race of the week next.
Oh, fantastic.
No, it's not.
We're both waving the Union Jack. We're both cheering on Nicky and Nico. Nico de Boinville blowing kisses to the crowd. Constitution Hill. But the scumbag each way bet. And you see, this is where I'm going. This is why Low de Sod fits in with Lossiemouth and possibly... But maybe Jade de Grugy, maybe July Flower. I need to look more at that. Maybe
but they all have to win, though.
I need to look at...
If they don't all win, you barely get your money back.
If I'm getting 3 places Low de Sod and 3 places about Lossiemouth, which I am now, and I put that in with Kopek de Boards, and then we'll decide who else is going to fall into this bet at some point. Probably Hottie Calor. There's a chance those horses go and win.
Of course there is, yeah. But you see, I would just put the win one on, and not, because I wouldn't. My stakes are low. So I couldn't care less about losing the win part of it or the place part or getting my money back. Couldn't care less. It's gone. Oh well, they didn't win. I'll just forget about it straight away, and it costs half as much.
Yeah,
I need a big prize to be bothered with something now. And on the course, it's different. It's funny because when I'm watching racing on the TV, I don't go racing that much now. I mean, I go to Cheltenham and stuff, but I will not look at anything that's not 20-1 or more. I honest to God will barely look at. But I was in Gorn at Red Mills Day, and I'm going to tell you here now, anyone not going to that is an absolutely brilliant day, right?
Fantastic.
They have nailed it in every respect, right? Every age group, music everywhere, racing was decent. But anyway,
free tickets,
I was absolutely thrilled. I backed this. There was the Red Mills Chase. What won the Red Mills
Classic
Chase?
Getaway.
Classic. I backed this classic. It decided last minute. It was 4-1. Absolutely delighted with myself with a 4-1 winner. So I can kind of see the point of 4 times in your money, whereas previously I just have no interest. I'm watching racing on the TV. I couldn't care less. Now maybe this is because I took money out of my pocket and handed it over. And then I gave the man a slip and he handed back more money. Whereas money in Revolut and bookmakers' accounts is essentially, unless it gets to where you can actually buy something reasonable with it, I don't even count. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does. I can see the point of it. I used to do more of those kind of prices. I probably might have to get back into them. Another thing we talk about another day. Maybe after Cheltenham, the way that I think the market is changing a little bit.
Yeah, I would be very, very keen to talk to you about that and some betting strategy. But we'll try and figure out who the big price winner of the Boodles is going to be. Because it tends to be, the Fred Winter tends to go to a big price horse.
Yeah, and I've had a few of them.
I had James Reevey on the show today. He was talking about Stencil.
Yes.
Well, sounded very, very bullish about him.
I'd say he did.
And particularly switching back to the old course.
Yeah, and you're after nailing one of me 2 selections there.
Okay.
I was all about Wendrock for this thing for the last while, but he's top weight. I can't have it. Willie Duell. I mean, Willie Duell is 140, right? So if you had a match race, Willie Duell and Absurd would be given Willie Dewell, only £6. I mean, to say he has 0.00 chance, it doesn't matter what ground, like, it is absolutely ridiculous that horse gets one. And same with, so you imagine a County Hurdle next year, and absurd is 146 that he is this year. I don't think he's running, but anyway, tell we can't do anything about that,
yeah,
right?
We don't mention the war.
Don't mention the war, I'm upset about that. But anyway, can you imagine, like, you know, Willie Dewell in the next year in Wendrock and only getting £10? Unless Wendrock like goes and absolutely sluices in it, he's absolutely no chance. Those ratings are absolutely ridiculous in every way, right? So I've gone looking at the English horses, which, to be honest, I kind of normally do anyway. And I've looked at a line of form where I've picked out 3 that I think are nicely handicapped, and it's going to matter on the day what price. So the 3 are Liam Swagger, Static, and Torrent. Now, Static and Torrent have been running against the best of the English for, you know, the best, and they're really. The Static you were talking to me earlier on, or did you say Stencil?
Hold up.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
prices.
Static is 50-1 with Jeff Banks bet.
Yeah.
Torrent is 66-1 with Jeff Banks bet. Who's the third horse?
And the probably my main one at the moment, my main thought at the moment maybe is that Liam Swagger is value. I think his prep and everything. I like his prep for it. And this guy, James Owen, whoever he is, has about 10 horses. And I think he might be his main go at this.
28-1 with Jeff Banks bet.
I think he might be his main go. And like he's hammered Torrent, right? Very comfortably in one of his earlier races, right? Now Torrent has gone and the reason Torrent is value, I think he would finish third in the bloody champion hurdle. He's one of those horses that he's a follower, I call. There are horses who will follow anything, and he's one of those. I don't know what I was watching on YouTube, but somebody had put it up his nap at the festival, and I can see it, and this is a good judge now at 40-1. I can see it. He's one of those horses. The chances of him being in the first 5 is quite short. It's quite short now at the likes of Torrent, because he's going to run on. He gets up the hill better than any other stage of the race. But I also like Static. So what happened was I kind of fancy Torrent anyway, because I said, look, this is my type of thing. He's 40-1, so I would give his win chance at around 40, all right. But so you're getting 8-1 to place. I would have his place chance at much short, like 4-1, 3.5-1, something like that, much shorter, right? Because of the way he runs. And this race is a bit of a mad race as well.
But it's insane race.
Static and Liam Swagger had a good go at it in Wetherby. When was this? In November. Torrent was back in third. But then Static has come up against, and I find it again, what's his name? They're really good.
Nietzsche has the French
No,
horse.
I'm ignoring that race.
Dock.
East India Dock. And he's first after him. You know, he's leading anyway, and he's gone after East India Dock straight away when he's passed him. And I think that something passed him out and he got back up again. And there's something I liked about that. And he's 122. Jesus, it is really, it really sticks out as a mark. You compare that to the Irish marks.
Oh, crazy.
So I think one of those is going to be bananas price. And I just have a sneaky suspicion this Liam Swagger on the good ground in this race is James Owen's pick for this. And that's enough to make him a short price, I think.
Well, he's already 28-1 with Jeff Banks bet.
Yeah, I think James, what he's done is he's run early, which has worked in the Triumph before. He's run early, and then he's won one of those bumpers in Suddle there in February. Yeah. And he hasn't run since because he got his mark. You know what I mean? So he got his mark, and then he didn't run again, and had a warm up in a bumper by a fellow who has about 20 of these 4-year-olds. Most of them are good. You know, that's the kind of thing I like to read into these things. Like to try thinking outside the box a little bit. So I have a sneaky suspicion I'll end up going with him for a win price at something around the 20-1 mark. And I will go with Static or Torrent. and I won't go Irish. The only one I would be interested in Irish now would be Beyond Your Dreams, but I'm not the only one, and that is going to go off favourite here. I'm sure of it. I think that's going off some low price. I'm sure of it. So I'm not interested in that either.
There's also people connected with the yard putting up "Put Your Hands Together" on Cheltenham previews, which means put Beyond Your Dreams.
Yeah, he has loads in it. But her farm there when she's between, she was behind Total Look and beat Wendrock. She was definitely the best horse in the race. Do you know what I mean? I have no doubt about that. So it's just her mark looks good. You know, and she's loads of experience.
I mean, naturally, Nimble is also very fond of. I'm a huge fan of Mercia, but they've both been murdered. Like 136, 138.
Yeah, anything in those any of those. When you look at the way English hurdling is going now, any mid 130s for a 4-year-old that hasn't won a lot of races is just too high.
Yeah,
unless they have to be capable of running to 148 or something next year. They have to be really high, really top quality horses to be able to win this off 136 this year.
Which, to be fair, Mercia might be, but
she's a lot of losing though. I'm talking about you'd want to be looking at a horse that's 2-1-1-1 and rated 136 with loads of upside.
Plus, this is a race that Willie Mullins has yet to win, and he's 0 from 22.
In fairness to Willie Mullins, they tend to be all trying.
Oh yeah, they are.
The time.
That's why I was getting a slag in for saying this the other day. The reason that Willie Mullins hasn't won a handicap chase at Cheltenham is because all these horses try, but they do.
They do. That's odd. No, I think he has a few this year. But we'll see how it goes. So that's me. Basically, I'm UK against Irish here because I just can't. Even though I would have been banging on about Wendrock for the last month and a half, I've gone off 136. I think a stone is too much to give the likes of Liam Swagger's farm around Cheltenham, Stencil, who ran. Okay, he got hammered by East India Dock, but there's nothing to stop East India Dock absolutely sluicing home in the Triumph, and I don't know, I think he might. I think he's a very good horse. So they look good anyway. I think I'll probably end up somehow going with Stencil just because it might have a bigger win percentage chance than Torrent.
The horse that Mercia was second to did bolt up by 11 lengths in a Grade 2 in his next start, only a week later. So it's possible that form is really, really good, but
could be, yeah.
She might also go for the Triumph Hurdle. Torrent, Static, Liam Swagger, there's your three for the Fred Winter, and they're all massive prices with Jeff Banks bet. National Hunt Chase, it's been changed. We don't really have stats to go with it. It's a handicap chase now. I'm very, very sweet on Horticolor. We've talked about him quite a few times, but I suspect he's going to be a little bit too short for your liking.
He is now. We're getting into races that I have not huge. This National Hunt Chase, looking at it the other day, I thought I'd found an interesting one in it with a nice prep and Cheltenham Farm and a good mark, and that's Kintara. Kintara was second to Monmorel last year. Ran really well off a 131, right? In the was that the Coral Cup? No, that was a Pretemps final. And beat like Cuthbert Dibble, who's I think he died since as well, didn't he? He's a very good horse. Bold Endeavour, a really good race. Now Gower Road is back in 6th there. Proper race. And he was really good there. All that caught him out was Monmorel was like a near Grade 1 4-year-old hurdler. It's just have been, Paul Nichols had done a good job on him. Do you know what I mean? And he just had too much in hand off the mark he was at. But that's a very good run. So it's had a nice 2 runs this year. On the face of it, not doing much over fences, but running in handicaps. But the run in Windsor, behind another interesting horse, Jericho Rock, and it was a kind of a nice race. I thought he jumped well, but he got balked at the last or second last, and he went from kind of starting the challenge second or third to last. So I'd write that off, but it has him in here on a very nice mark. If you consider he was only beaten by a Monmorel that was certainly, 8-10 pounds well in the last year, and he was super. Look at his form from last year, 1-1, 2-2-2. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with it. He's a very consistent horse. If you had him and could get him well handicapped, this is the kind of race you'd want to be going for. He does look like a dour stayer as well. I mean, he led all the way, most of the way in that Pretemps. I don't remember it again, but he battled back after Monmorel. But Monmorel only pulled out that length and a half in the last 10 yards. Do you know what I mean? It was worth to get past him. So I'm quite happy with that. I can't see myself changing that, and I don't really like any of the Irish horses again in this. I'm going to avoid them in most races. in the handicaps anyway. So I quite like that Kentaro. So he's my only one really in that. They're difficult races yet, just because it's very unsure what the field is going to be.
All right, they're the long shots for day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Which is the best one of them for you?
Gallimar, so without shadow of a doubt. But probably won't be running. Doesn't matter, not running, no bet. They're not afraid of it in the slightest. We'll get to her other option in a minute anyway.
No harm done with the non-runner, no bet. Keep that in mind, Gallimar. So the best bet of the long shots for day one of Cheltenham 2025. Day two of Cheltenham 2025 is headed by the Turner's Novice Hurdle, where the betting is headed by Final Demand for Willie Mullins, 2 from 2, including a grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival. He's taking on a Challow Hurdle winner. Challow Hurdle winners don't win at Cheltenham. No. But the new line is 11-4. Final Demand 6-4. Kopek de Boards will not go for this race. The yellow clay is pretty much confirmed for it. It looks like 7-1 for Gordon Elliott. And the more I look at him, I'd kind of got a little bit lukewarm on him. I'm starting to come back into being interested in him, but again, this is a similar race to the Supreme in the sense that you can look at it 6 ways from Sunday, and I keep coming back to the fact that actually Final Demand just wins.
Yeah, I was kind of negative about Final Demand originally, thinking that he looks like a chaser, needs further, but I'm unconvinced about the new line totally. Why? Because not on his last run, winning that. Did he beat anything yet? Did he actually beat a horse yet? No. And in the race at Newbury, there was a novice hurdle in Newbury. He won it relatively well, but Harry Skelton had to do the owl, waking him up a fair bit. And then, he tried to be as still as he could after that. But I'm never convinced about these horses where the jockey is not moving. I thought I could detect it the same in the Challow. To get him going, you had to get him started. Do you know what I mean? He beat absolutely nothing. So that's why I was saying, if there's a horse in I'm not going to tip it. But it's just when I looked at it in the cold light of day, there's a horse in the Supreme and he's had more runs, but in his last few runs he's done something very similar. This Tripoli Flyer, he absolutely sluiced up in the Dovecote, which is a decent race as well, with probably some decent horses. It's very hard to tell.
Handicapper didn't think so. Final Demand has a rating of 152 from the IHRB. The BHA give the new line a mark of 147, and he's got more experience. Tripoli Flyer got 142. Yeah,
but that what I'm saying is when I look at those two horses, I am more interested in Tripoli Flyer than having the new line. Not in this race, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that to me, I'm not a fan of the jockey not moving his arms does not mean the horse is winning on the bridle, really. The bridle mightn't be moving, but I just think that's his shtick a little bit. And he got him sold. So,
that's what I was going to say. Yeah. I was like, don't say it.
He got him sold. So, I just don't. I think he's possibly not too short, but when you have Yellow Clay as well, who's going to bring really solid form to it, I wouldn't like him now 2-1 new line at all. I can see how it's conceivable that Final Demand needs further. I can see how that's conceivable, but I just I don't. I'm not a huge like the Yellow Clay. It'll all depend on the day. I'm unlikely to have a big price one in this. I'm not mad about some of the horses he's beaten as well, to be honest. Like he won that race in the Lawlers and Ace, beating Super Sunday and Wingman. Now I like Wingman, which we'll probably get to later on. That is a good race, but it really is a stairs race. This is a good ground turn, or what's this thing called? Is this called the Turners now?
Yeah, Turners Novice.
Yeah, is probably a lot different than that race. Doesn't mean he won't improve for it. I mean, I like him in it. It's just I haven't found anything in it yet in this race other than, again, like the Champion Hurdle. I'm gonna see what price Yellow Clay is, or even I'm half interested in Potter's Charm.
Really,
I wouldn't be surprised if he's better than the £1 Million horse, better than the new line.
JP won't like that.
No, but I quite like Power Sam. I know he lost the last day, but I think they said it themselves, you know, they were just picking up the easy prize money. Yeah, he went too often, yeah. And I wouldn't put it past him to have him a lot better now in this. Depending on what price he goes off. He's not big enough for me now in this. I thought, the minute I saw that race, I thought to myself, right, I'm going to back Potter's Charm at 33-1 for the Turners, whoever Scott, because he's after losing there now and he's only 12-1. So we will not be backing him now. You will get 20-1 about him on the day, and you might even get an extra place.
16-1 with Jeff Banks betting now, but you will
so
get bigger.
he's too short now, so I'm not interested at all. But I just would have a sneaking suspicion that the New Line's going to get backed, Final Demand's going to get backed, Yellow Clay, James's Gate even, which when I watched the bumper from last year, was that the bumper? Yeah. Was it bumper he was third in? Yeah.
He was third to Facile Vega in the champion bumper in 2022.
Yeah, but he went down the inside. He wasn't really... He didn't get the ideal run in it. So he's probably decent as well. Another big price. But we'll see on the day. My main thing about that is I'm probably negative about New Line.
Yeah, I agree. And I rewatched the Challow and my first reaction is, oh my goodness, what a horse. And then you just start looking at the form.
Yeah, he beat nothing.
He beat nothing. He beat absolutely
But I mean,
nothing.
he won his £1 million.
Yeah. Fair play to the connections. They've done it well and they're continuing to talk him up and maybe... can't help but notice he's being very, very well backed. If you fancy the New Line, 11-4 with Jeff Banks bet is an industry best price. I think Final Demand wins. But I have to say, I am starting to really come back around to the Yellow Clay. I think he's a massive player, and it's really significant that Gordon is sticking to this race. It might be in the best interest of the long-term development of the racehorse, but I think he's got a huge...
And I think he thinks Wingman has a very good chance in the other one as well, I'd say.
Yeah, that's another good point to make as well. Brown Advisory, Ballyburn, a devastating winner on this day at Cheltenham a year ago as the 13-8 market leader. Dancing City, his stable companion, 7-2. Better days ahead. Martin Pipe winner last year for Gordon Elliott, 8-1 ahead of Croke Park, who Ballyburn jumped the last behind at the Dublin Racing Festival, but then waved goodbye to as they went towards the line. He's 12-1. Lecky Watson, 16. Stellar Story, another Cheltenham Festival hero from last year, 20-1. Is he the horse that would interest you, Stellar Story?
Yes, because I picked him last year, and I did in a great Friday. But
absurd Stellar Story. It was one hell of a day.
Yes, it was. Stellar Story will be staying on at the end anyway. There's no real doubt about that. I might fancy him slightly more than Croke Park for Gardner, just because we absolutely know for sure at the end of this race he is flying up the hill regardless. So we know that, which makes a big difference in Cheltenham. I'm not entirely sure. See, I have to look at I can't be looking at the one price because I want to select it and I'm trying to tip it. I have to take the average price across the, you know what I mean? Because there has to be enough bookies the lads can get on. He's not a big enough price for me now, but I think all the markets are like this. Some of these horses are going to be there like 12, 14-1. They're going to be 25-1 on the day, no doubt about it. I was kind of almost negative about every horse in the race when I went looking through this, which brings me back to Sir Ballyburn is probably just going to cruise into it, and there's probably no one good enough in the end. I did like the way he finished off that race in Leopardstown, and he jumped better than before. He's not my type of bet. Dancing City's also a nice horse, but the only thing you say about Ballyburn, he'd be in the old JLT all day, every day. You know, only even if he was a Gold Cup horse, they would be running him in the JLT, and he'd probably be winning it. And similarly, even Croke Park would probably be in that. There's a few of them. Something tells me there's a chance of a decent price outsider getting in. I haven't come across it yet. You know, there's nothing really sticking out. Champ Kiley would have been very interesting, but he just ran the other day. Yeah,
funny. Ross Millar was saying that to me just a couple of weeks ago.
And I mean, even Lecky Watson, all these horses, they're all fine. I don't see anything huge value in over the general prices at the moment. I'd say there's not much between the likes of Better Days Ahead, Croke Park, Stellar Story, any of those. And all you're really betting on there is Ballyburn is definitely the classy horse, and Dancing City. They're right to be kind of well on top of the market, and Dancing City is the better stayer. But I wouldn't think any of them are worth a bet at the moment anyway. So it's a leave it for me for the moment. You will find on the day one of these horses that stand a chance is going to be more than 20. The only thing I did think, if it is proper good ground, a high class hero might get involved towards the end of the race. Proper, if it's good, proper good ground. But he's the only one I can see at the moment. But again, he'll be somewhere in the third, fourth choice Willie Mullins horse, which is going to put him in the 33-1 bracket on the day, which then is interesting. He's 33-1 a couple of places there now. He'd be an interesting one. I'd be waiting. It's one I definitely would be waiting for today. Want to see who's in it first. For the each way side of it, you want to see how many of the slightly classier horses turn up. Ballyburn, Dancing City, Bear Days Ahead, Croke Park, Licky Watson, Stellar Story. If all them turn up, that's a lot of very decent chasers, decent novice hurdlers to get past if you're looking at a 33-1 shot or a high price horse. There's a lot of maybe similar, they're Cheltenham winners. They're all classy enough. Bear Days Ahead did not win the
Martin Pipe
winners of the Gold Cup race last year. Yeah,
Don Pauly sort of.
There's a lot of decent horses in it, so then it might make it difficult to get a high priced one out. Only a high class hero might interest if the ground is, they're calling it good to soft, but it's actually good or something like that, which can happen. So it's a difficult race.
How much is Ballyburn's jumping a concern for you?
Not really. Yeah, the way he went up the hill in the Dublin Race Festival, wouldn't be that worried. He proper put the head down now and.
Yeah,
really
the fact that he
there.
jumps the last alongside a Grade 1 winner and then just powers away from him.
He powered away, and he would. I'd say the further they were going, the further away he'd get as well. I know. I'm not worried about him really. That he'd be. I think I might put him in multiple. I'm struggling to have something good enough to beat him really.
I think he wins. I think him and Final Demand and Kopek de Boards are.
You won't be the only one doing that.
Yeah, they're almost nailed on.
Yeah. But they never all win though.
Well,
never happens. Never happened ever.
There was a Cheltenham was it 2004? The front page of the Racing Post and the lead up to it was the Cheltenham Festival of the Bankers, Rooster Booster, Moscow Flyer, Barracuda, Best Mate. They can't be beaten. Only one of them won.
Yeah, nah. Same every year. You see fellas with look at this 5-horse accumulator. It's Jesus Christ. It's 40-1. I mean, surely they all win, and they're doing it a month in advance, and there's absolutely zero chance the 5 horses are getting to Cheltenham for a start. Like, what are the odds of 5 horses getting to Cheltenham a month in advance? It's of all 5 of them getting to Cheltenham and being in the right race. It's like 6 or 7-1 at best. Yeah. So you're cutting their they never. Has there ever been a year? When has they all won 4 or 5 of them that everyone's talking about from the start? It never happened.
I did a short priced. I'm pretty sure I might have done it each way because it was like, this can't not come off. Scumbag Lucky 63. First one was Jerry Colomb. Few of them did end up coming in, but
always something happens. Cheltenham is a funny course. It's not straightforward. Not that, believe me, I'll be doing them every day when I'm there. Do you know what I mean? I'll be doing. I call those things the insurance against I've had a bad day, because if 3 or 4 of them favourites win, I mean, it's no consolation. I don't know why I bother doing it. It's no consolation that you win
if you're holding a docket with 3 good things that have gone in.
I'd prefer to tip 50-1 horse to finish struggling to 5th, and then I would have 3 even shots win me all day, every day.
Yeah.
So I don't be too worried. Doesn't matter. I'd be doing them anyway, just for the crack.
I'd say a lot of people were saying El Fabiola. I'm pretty sure on the TalkSport Cheltenham preview I said, "Oh, sure, this El Fabiola is a good thing."
There's loads of them. There's every year. There's half a dozen of them every year. They never all win.
Yeah,
won't happen this year either.
Yeah, at least I was right about Tihupu. Anyway, all right. The Coral Cup, Kopek de Me. I mean, look, who knows? Again, I was asking James Reevely about him today. He was able to fill in the blanks on him, but not a notion. 8-1 is one of the best prices you can get with Jeff Banks bet. Be aware, 8s. This is a race you're going to be looking for something at a pretty decent price. What's standing out?
It is, but this and the Martin Pipe are an absolute disaster for looking at ahead of time, because too many of them go to boat. I am unsurprisingly probably going to like. Even though I think she would have less a chance of winning this than the Mare's Hurdle, I'm probably not against Gala Marceau in it, just because she's probably a Grade 1 mare. This is probably her trip, and I think the opposite of what I thought before, in that she might like decent ground. nothing sticks out. It's too far out. There's too many of the ones at a big price. I can't be sure they're going. So I look at it and go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't be sure it's going. I can't get interested in it. There's a horse in it I'm interested, but I wasn't sure what he was going for. Let me just see what entries he has, right? Carl, there we are. He's kind of big price in both. This Steel Ally.
Yeah.
I think his farm looks very good. It actually looks well. Is he still on 142? This is great television now, flicking through that.
Please hold, caller. Your call is very important to us at Final Furlong Podcast.
He's still 142. So he has plenty of runs that are better than 142. First of all, that lump sum, somehow he was giving him weight, because Dylan Johnson was on lump sum. Battleback only lost that by a length. That is very, very good form, right? But the last time, when is that? Towards the end of February.
The run against the main line.
Yeah, he caught him on the line, right? Now, considering Steel Ally is kind of a novice, isn't that many runs. But Salver, Blue King Drew, that's a proper race, that is.
And the mean line's a proper horse.
So I think off 142, I think he's getting involved in whichever the race he's in. I think, and Sam Thomas anyway. One of the things about saying not under no bet is he does not waste entries. He does not.
He's got one hell of a record in handicaps.
Yeah, he's a brilliant trainer. He's the best new trainer in terms of on the big day that he just tends to seem to get it done. I like him. I think he's well handicapped. I see he's gone on up £2, 144. So it's fine. You know what I mean? That's still fine. He's the most interesting that I see now. I mean, it is difficult. I mean, I can see. I kind of wanted, Power Merchant to be running the handicap, not or running something other than the per temps. But sure, anyway, look, that's my one at the moment. I'll go for him. It's too hard at the moment with that and my worst race at the festival, the Martin Pipe. So that's who I'll go for at the moment. I don't like Kopek. To me, he might sluice in. He can just go and sluice in. I'd be happy enough to watch it.
Yeah,
you couldn't possibly back it at the prices.
I think you need to remember what Adam Mills was saying. Well, Castle de Mott's was a horse he really fancied last year, and he ended up getting lapped on his debut in the Bedford Hurdle.
Yeah, they just
you don't know.
No interest. It's not. You don't know yet. And what, like his general price is only 4 to 1 or something. That's because you don't know what race he's going for.
You've no idea what race he's going for. He's 3 to 1. I'm pretty sure I saw for one of the races.
I see a few 4s and stuff, but it doesn't really matter.
He's 3 to 1 for the Martin Pipe. It's madness. It's complete madness.
Leave it. Let him win at that price. Martin Pipe. I mean, okay, the Grade 1 hurdlers tend to win that, or chasers or whatever, but you know what? You can forget about it until the actual race. Yeah. No need to back anything at the price. So I'm probably going to go with that Steel Ally. From what I've looked at so far, I can't see anything else at a big price. I might nearly prefer him than Gallimar, so it depends. I'm ignoring Gallimar so until I look at this race on the day and she's in it and she hasn't run the Mare's Hurdle. At the moment, Mare's Hurdle, I want her to run in.
If his trainer pulls a Crazy Ivan, which he might, and if he manages to get in, which is not a guarantee, I'm just checking what the lowest rating was for last year's race. Yeah, he might actually. He might get in. Horses were getting in off 134 last year. If Jericho de Repine rocked up in this race instead of the Pertomps,
is he in both? Yeah, he's
in both. But he's a bigger price for this one. And I think this race would suit him much better. Old course at Cheltenham, 2.5 as opposed to 3 miles in the new course. But it's not the plan. But if this is the race he ends up in, I'd be pretty bullish. Cross country goes back to a handicap. Gordon Elliott sounds furious about this and also sounds like a man who has decided he's going to fire everything at it.
Yeah.
Fire everything! And just would be very, very pleased if one of them was to come out on top. And if the ground is pretty decent, which it might be, Chemical Energy strikes me as a horse that could just bounce back here.
But how much is Chemical Energy getting? See, I have this race. I think the class horses are on too good a mark, that the others have absolutely no chance. I was all over the other horse who's actually died since of colic. What was his name?
Poor old Delta Work.
I couldn't have been more all over, but as it turned out, the ground would have been good. He probably wouldn't have even ran in it.
Yeah,
so,
wouldn't have, poor fella.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, God, he was such a good, you know what I mean, for such a long time.
Super talented horse.
But Galvin is going to be my fancy for the Grand National again this year. It was one of the two things I banged on about all last year was Galvin for Grand National and absurd or whatever, but he's going to be the same. He's a great chance at the Grand National off the mark. If this ground is good. The only thing, the difference between Galvin and Delta Work is Delta Work was super reliable. Do you know what I mean? If he's the best horse in the race, like he was beating Tiger Road, he probably would win it. Do you know what I mean? Once the ground is relatively soft. Galvin is not as... he's definitely not as reliable. There's no way. Like, you know what I mean? It just isn't as reliable a horse. But on good ground around here, I don't think the other horses are getting enough weight from a classy. Like remember, he's been put aside for the national now for the guts of 2 years. So he's 11, but he hasn't had a load of runs, and certainly not a load of runs where he's trying. I really fancy him for the Grand National. He's going to be 40-1. I don't want to say I'll eat me hat if he's not in the first 4 or 5 or 6 again, because he will be, especially if it's on good ground. But he looks the most likely winner of this. I struggled a little bit to do what I normally do and get one of these big outsiders into the places here. I'm not sure who's going. You know, it's probably difficult. The likes of Back on the Lash, even though he's really lowly rated, he's going to run 20 pounds better here than he will in a normal handicap. But the one I'm kind of warming to a little bit is Cocoa Beach. Because Cocoa Beach was a year and a half ago, was able to win and run off 160. You know what I mean? He was quality. Yeah, he's quality. And I feel they knew they needed him to come back. I mean, that was mental. What did he win? He won a Tri-Town. He was second in the entry on heavy ground.
On bottomless ground. Off
162. Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. Those are unbelievable performances. And I have a sneaking suspicion 150 is probably decent. But I think all that, and then he's only getting £4 from Galvin, who could have won a Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm finding it difficult to get some of these horses in. The one I'm interested in, the one I was banging on about since the start of our own show, was I was going on about Bustleton right from the start of that show, which is November or whatever it was, and he was 50-1, 66-1 for this. I didn't back it either, though. You know what I mean?
Oh no!
And now, I don't think I have any interest in him at 10-1 because he's an each way play. If this ground is good, he's going to be involved in the finish, no doubt about it. Because he actually ran nicely over this. He was an eye catcher now, and to say he was I wish he never ran that Pine Hurdle, because before he was an obvious on soft heavy ground, which he hates. He has run really well against Maxim, Devil's Coachman, and on ground that he would hate, and he was prominent and ran really well, and it kind of became obvious then that he's well handicapped for this. So I like him in it, but I won't like the win side because the likes of Stumptown is too short. Galvin could easily be way too good here now with Delta Work on. He could be way too good. I wouldn't be surprised. If he was anyway consistent, he'd be one of the best. Even at 4 or 5-1, he'd be a great bet.
Well, he's getting weight from Stumptown, who's favourite.
Yeah, I don't. Stumptown's too short. Yeah, I just have no time for it. But he's you know, he has his chance, but I think he's too high. Anyway, that's the cross country.
You've actually just talked me into Galvin. It's a kind of a mad price, and if they wanted to claim off him, they could as well, but they mightn't need to. Yeah,
you wouldn't mind a claimer on him. It depends. Who's the?
Throw Rob
few
James
of them there. Yeah, he might be very hard to beat then, I think. But I think Rob James was probably going to be on. I was banking on him being on Delta Work.
Yeah.
You know? But as I said, Delta Work wouldn't have went for it on good ground anyway. He'd be safe for the national. Anyway, that's that race, and I find it difficult now. Whereas it was Delta Work anti-post my first bet at, I think it was 16 or 20-1 or something like that, and the way it's gone now, the way the prices have gone, doesn't mean on the day something mad won't happen with one of the horses and I'll get interested. Particularly if Cocoa Beach went to a big price, I'd be definitely interested.
Does 20-1 interest you?
I'd want no bet probably.
Okay, you want the insurance
just because I think he might go for the national. He would have other options.
Yeah,
and again, would they run him on the good ground? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cross country in particular, if the ground is good to soft on the main course, it's going to be good. They've no way of watering that. It's going to be good on the cross country. It will be shockingly good ground. You could end up with very few runners in it, or a lot of lowly rated runners, and Galvin.
And Galvin just crushes them.
And Stumptown as well is like that as well. But some of the other ones mightn't go for. Bustledown will be in it, but Cocoa Beach mightn't. So we'll see what happens with it anyway.
Joseph O'Brien could tear this Cheltenham Festival apart, especially with the way his horses are going. We'll go to the Queen Mother Champion Chase. The favourite is John Bon, who Aidan Coleman has said on several occasions, including on this show, is not the same horse at Cheltenham as he is elsewhere. And yes, he's the 11-10 on favourite with Jeff Banks bet. And there are some people who'll tell you he can't be beaten. Maybe he'll be like that Gary Moore horse from a few years ago who didn't have Cheltenham form and then ended up winning it. Gaelic Warrior, he needed a bog, he's 8th. Energamine would probably needed a bog as well, also 8th. Marine Nationale is also 8th. And Solness, a dual grade 1 winner this season, gets no respect at 9-1. What's your take in the Champion Chase?
This was one where I again am trying to go looking for place value. Marine Nationale looks kind of solid, all right. Solness might, if John Bon isn't all that around here now. Solness, the course will obviously kind of suit, because it's tight. He might fly around there. I think he'd probably like it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you could call him value. I mean, in theory, he's value because he's absolutely hosed up in the 2 Irish Grade 1s. And in theory, it seems like he's value and he's going to like good ground. So he probably is. I mean, Gaelic Warrior, probably won't have him on good ground because he'd need further, I think, on good ground. And Energamine, no. Marine Nationale now is a possibility, but I think his price is probably about right at 6 or 7-1. I'm not finding many reasons why Solness won't just beat him again. Very same. It's hard to, like Marine Nationale done well last time when the rest of them kind of gave up early. But I'm more interested in a couple of super big prices here each way. Just because Energamine, Gaelic Warrior, Ile Francais, half of these horses aren't going to turn up. Banbridge not going to turn up.
By the sounds of things from what James Reevely was saying today, Ile Francais will go Ryanair.
Yeah, this now is, you're not going to have... First of all, the favourite is a race that nearly lost, is a horse that nearly lost to Calico at one stage.
Yeah.
He is possibly, he's not, as consistent he is, he's most definitely the best horse in this race. I haven't a doubt in the world about it. Unless it was very soft ground, then Energamine, even though he's old, is still,
Aidan, he beat El Fabiolo at Sandown. El Fabiolo's getting turned over by a 50-1 shot the other day. He's beating Boot Hill and a horse who's not suited by the ground in Energamine the last day at Ascot. Yeah, so essentially he's beating Boot Hill again and Edwardstone. Probably,
yeah, but he's still, I don't know what the 2 mile, is it any good though, really? Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure.
Good luck to you if you're backing him at odds on. I couldn't.
No, I won't be backing him in a million years at odds on. I probably end up on the day going with Solness at 8 or 9-1 just because I like the horse. But for my, I've got, yes, no, there, you've nailed one of me. The one I want to go with each way is Calixios, around 40-1.
Keep the faith.
I don't think on decent ground. I think he'd be okay. I think he's the value in it. He's the most value at the moment. I have another interesting one as well. Not sure if he's going right, but I think Calixios is probably the most obvious value. He is capable on his day. It's not certain that the likes of Marine Nationale is that much better than Calixios. He's had a couple of good runs this year, and the one where Solness got away early, Calixios went down the inside. First of all, tried to go with him in the beginning, right? And also went down the inside, which no horse in Leopardstown anywhere near, right? He had no hope straight away. So I'm willing to write that out.
Henry's horses were
yes, and Henry's horses weren't great. But he just interests me. He's enough good form where at 40-1 he might get involved in a place where you have a lot of horses here now who have no guarantees.
He got within 8 lengths of John Bon on a track he's unbeatable.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's the kind of clear value for me at the moment anyway. I mean, you'd love to see all the Captain Guinness, all these horses, they need heavy. Soft ground seems highly unlikely at the moment. So it's him, and the other one I'm interested in, but I'm not sure whether he'd like the good ground either, is Blood Destiny, just because he's unexposed. I don't think he's going to run. He was down to run, wasn't he down to run the weekend or something like that?
There was talk of him going in that El Fabiolo race.
But if you just have a little land size farm from last year, it's getting beaten by Spillane Tower and beating Spillane Tower. There weren't a hell of a lot between the two of them now.
He beat Hartwood.
Yes, and Hartwood. He has proper good farm in a bad 2 mile, what's probably a bad 2 mile division. We actually don't know yet whether he's a grade 1 chaser. And there's no reason to suggest, there's a good chance he might be. I quite liked his run in the, I think Willie only ran him in that 2.5 mile, that horse and jockey thing at Thurles, because the date suited. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't tend to be worried, but I thought he looked okay in that now. I wouldn't be that, I wouldn't.
Do you remember when he was a juvenile hurdler, the talk was Paul Townend was in a torture chamber, couldn't decide whether to ride him or La Seamouth?
No, I had no idea, yeah. Yeah, I just think he's probably classy. And he has upside that some of the others don't have.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to show or not, I don't know. But he's up to kind of 80 to 1. I see a few of them have shortened, and maybe that means he's going. But we'll just see on the day who rides him if he turns up. I'm trying to find the one thing with the Racing Post is
they've killed it.
And I mean, odds checker, you can't depend on it anymore.
You can't depend on odds checker. We were talking earlier on about how just the At the Races website just is crushing everybody now.
It is, but their price and grid does. The odds
It's
checker's
awkward.
price and grid is so good. That's the problem with it. But I look, I like Blood Destiny and Calixios. Both non-runner, no bet. I'd want the big guy. I see there's a number of 66 to 1 about Blood Destiny. There's even an 81, but I presume that's it's not non-runner, no bet. I'd say it's bet 365.
No, Jeff is going 40 to 1 about Quilixius, 80 to 1 about Blood Destiny, not non-runner, no bet though.
Yeah, which is still, it's hard to see. It's hard to know. It depends on what other Willie horses are going to this. Do you know what I mean? If an Ergamine isn't going...
Well, this race falls apart though.
It does, yeah. Oh, that's why I was kind of so interested in it.
There's a chance Gaelic Warrior doesn't run.
Oh no, there definitely is. On soft ground, an Ergamine or Gaelic Warrior neither might run in this. If it's good, proper, good ground.
Yeah, just wait for entry with an Ergamine potentially. Now I'm sure that his owner wants to run, but if it's good ground, it almost ends Gaelic Warrior's chance. And
he just needs further. He might do well over further, but I wouldn't fancy him on good ground in Champion Chase.
40 to 1 about Quilixius.
Not with Solness in it. If Solness gets going, Gaelic Warrior won't be able to keep up, I don't think.
Yeah, and just remember this race has been an absolute burn up the last few years, so it may very well be again. From the Champion Chase to the Grand Annual, anybody on your short list?
Yes, the Grand Annual. I'm a while on the... Try and find them. I'm going a long way down the list here now. I'm a while on the bandwagon of why did anyone pay 140,000 sterling for third time lucky as a 10-year-old. Gone to a good trainer, Fergal O'Brien now. I like Fergal O'Brien.
Yeah, big fan of his.
I think it's pretty obvious that the 140,000 was to have a competitor in this race on this day, and his first run was fairly eye-catching now, and done a nice job at getting him absolutely walloped down the hand. He's 1-3-4. I think he's been placed in this before.
He has.
Off. So 2023, 149. He was off a long time, but he was a disappointing. And the reason he's probably a big price as well is he was a disappointing horse for a lot of people. They thought he'd win the Arkle and stuff like that, but he just was never that good. He was up against Edward Stone, in fairness, gentleman to me, who had won. They'd been kind of grade 1 winners. Do you know what I mean? He just was never that good. But that I liked, even though he was hammered the last time and in Cheltenham. I quite liked his first run. A bit anyway, but I don't think he was trying in the slightest in those other two races. Not in the slightest. I just can't allegedly, why would you pay that much money for that kind of a 10-year-old horse without having a serious chance? And I just like it. It's the kind of thing I generally look at. He have absolutely unbelievable farm around Cheltenham.
Sorry. Russian disinformation from Aidan O'Hara on this show. It's absolutely scandalous what's going on these days. False price. How dare you? It wasn't £130,000. That's fake news.
70, was it?
It was 190,000.
For God's sake, you want your head examined.
Bought it initially for $7,000.
But I mean, how anyone? I mean, you've seen the. I've seen.
But this is why he was bought, though.
Yeah, I know. But I've seen horses in training sales, and I'm really surprised at how good value the horses were. Flat horses and stuff like come from Aidan O'Brien's and sell for like 14,000 and they're rated 92. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the horse Dylan Cunha got from.
Yes, there's plenty of value. But why the hell? Unless it came with a 2/3 of your money back if he doesn't win the Grand Annual guarantee from who had him before. An even bigger
10%
chance
of your money back from Jeff Banks if this ex-Ballydoyle horse doesn't quite make it.
He was with Dan Skelton before.
Yeah, and he was placed in this race off America. Was it 149?
He's bloody good at selling horses.
Oh, he's excellent at it.
Yeah. But anyway, look, I like Third Time Lucky. I also kind of like Calico, speaking of Dan Skelton, but he has run the other day, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell whether. But yeah, I didn't think he tried too hard anyway. Same last day. He has his way here now. I'd be interested in him. He's good around here. He's consistent when he's trying. I do not like any of the Irish horses at all.
Yeah,
I have no hope. The Irish 2 mile chasing is shocking. Do you know, Firefox might go for it. Maybe he'll be interesting.
Grade 1 horse in a handicap for sure.
Yeah, he'd be interesting.
He's well found in the market now.
His jumping is so good though. His jumping is so good. If Liberty Hunter don't go, Unexpected Partner is too high compared to last year. Very hard to find another decent horse in it. He will have a chance, I think.
Yeah.
Because if he starts jumping well, I mean, most of these handicappers have hope of getting anywhere near him.
That's
tough. So I actually don't mind his price.
Okay.
We just don't know where he's going yet.
Firefox is, in fact, I've just gone off it there. Apologies.
He's 8-9 to 1 with kind of non-runner no bet.
You can get, so with the proviso that it isn't non-runner no bet, Firefox is 12 to 1 with Jeff Banks bet for the Grand Annual. But the big one is Third Time Lucky. Operation Third Time Lucky. A mark of 149. He was 4th in this race 2 years ago. He's down to 134. Come on, Fergal O'Brien, get the job done for us. Champion Bumper, pretty brutal news for David Pipe with the fact that Win Beneath My Wings is out of this race. That's a real shame. I was saying this yesterday, I spent hours going through the Champion Bumper form, watching race replays, and I come to the conclusion this horse is an absolute good thing. Whoever can get by him will win. He's gone. Who now takes your interest?
I have a really successful system that takes all of 4 seconds for the bumper because I'm never interested.
So I spent 5 hours doing it, and you've got what?
I don't know how successful it is, but it's just okay. Just pick the Willie Mullins. If Willie Mullins has 7 in it, pick his kind of 4th, 5th choice at 40 to 1 each way on the day, 4 or 5 places. Close your eyes, try and remember which colours he is and who's riding it, and just watch it.
Oh, it sounds victorious.
Now, I mean, you would actually be surprised. You'd be surprised. I've collected on a fair few of those placed anyway.
Lecky Watson, 4th at 80 to 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't go for him. My brother had banged on about him last year, and I didn't back it on the day. I was kind of raging, really. But Willie, it's like the Aidan O'Brien thing. He has so many quality horses. Not many of his horses that are bothered going to Cheltenham for the bumper are 40 to 1.
Yeah.
Not many of them. So you just close your eyes and back one of them. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not even going to remotely look at it until literally after the race before it is finished. Then I'm going to look. We'll never be tipping in it. And I'm going to just pick one of the outsiders.
Well, in that case then, I'll just say very briefly, I thought Bambino Fever has been very good. I actually hadn't seen her run because New Year's Eve was the worst day of my life, so I hadn't watched any racing that day, but I watched it back over the weekend. She was impressive. Interesting side note though, she beats Champagne Venture by 8 lengths. Aquaforce beats a race fit Champagne Venture by 28 lengths on her race course debut for a trainer who had never trained a winner in Ireland, despite the fact that he's been training for over 20 years. How much improvement could that horse have for second start and switch to Willie Mullins and switch to Mark Walsh / Jack Gleeson taking over?
Is that was that Goran? Is that the one that won?
Yeah. So she's interesting, but who knows how good she could be. Calypso Chance has the better profile in the sense that he's got the 2 starts. He comes from that listed race that Gordon has won with some really good horses, including horses who've won the Champion Bumper. He got an RPR of 130 for that run. Game of Inches got an RPR of 128 for his race course debut. He never came off the bridle. Patrick never moved a muscle on him. And he couldn't pull him up until he got to the back straight of Punchestown. This horse will win.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be hoping. I'll be there shouting on something to struggle into 4th. It's a bit over 33 to 1. Now, if I have some interest in, I had taken a look at last year's racing, which I often do, and I have some interest in the one that was 3rd last year. Is Jalan Doudry, is it?
Yes.
Because I think the general consensus is a bumper horse are shite this year. So
well,
I have some interest in it because it's 12 to 1. It's kind of a half reasonable price, and I wonder will it be better on decent ground. But that's beside the point. The asking me about a bumper is I have an immediate
stick with me.
Yeah,
I've got it sorted for you.
I have an immediate dislike.
Patrick will ride Game of Inches. Game of Inches will be more versatile on the ground. He's a half brother to the Can Do Kid, trained by Nicky Richards. That horse is won on good ground and soft ground over both hurdles and fences. Whereas Copacabana, I'm pretty certain, needs soft ground. Game of Inches will win. Just a matter of how far. Especially with the David Pipe horse out. Right. Yeah. Day 3. We'll rattle through the.
We're going to rattle through some of these because some of these are hard. Yes. But I probably know what I'm going to be backing in this thing, though, all the same. Now,
okay,
this was the mares.
This
was another. No, hold on. I have something for the mares. This was this is a formula. I have the same formula for the bumper that I have for this mare's hurdle. And it has also worked. And I had it in one particular case, it worked unbelievably well. The old Willie Mullins, like 4th or 5th choice. I had some yoke at.
Was Elegant to Soy?
No, I backed something on the course on Betfair. I backed 3 of his horses that were all like 200 to 1. And I've been none of them had hardly ran. They'd hardly run before. I'm going, how the hell? Nobody knows. Like the Aidan O'Brien thing that we saying about 2-year-olds. I haven't a clue which one is best. No idea. And the yoke won. And I think I'd got 170 on Betfair. Now, I'd like a tenner on it. But that's still, it was my biggest win of the week, and I had a few winners. But anyway,
magic.
So look, I normally do that. It's a similar thing as the 2-year-olds on the flat. They just don't know. I don't care what anyone says. Horses that have run once or twice, mares particularly, they do not know, and anything can happen on the day. I'm interested in one, though, at a big price, just because she's the opposite of that. So Gail Mahler looked like a very good horse. It hasn't run great lately, but there's just a couple of her runs that I just have in this type of race. There was a couple of times the second season novice there was one in particular that won by like 100 lengths. I was on it. What was that, Concertista or something? Yeah. That was the one time I was back in the favours in it. But for some reason, I'm looking at her for this, even though it's 50, 60 to 1, just because I wasn't sure was there any other good ones in it. She's run a good few, but the fillies are capable of doing that, though. They're just capable of. It's different. Young fillies are capable of doing absolutely nothing for a ruse. That's it for the moment. I don't know. I'd more than likely on the day I'll pick one of those, a couple of those Willie Mullins ones at giant prices.
So Gail Mahler now at a massive price.
Gail Mahler, it just interests me for some reason that I can't quantify enough. She has enough quality that the race she won at Galway, she looked like a decent horse. She's run bad since, but I've just seen it before. That she'd suddenly come back to some kind of form, and I might get her involved in the finish.
And as you said, mares can bounce back out of nowhere, and they can be a little bit more resilient than the colts.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Jack Richards Novice Handicap Chase. So the Novice Handicap Chase is back. Jaguar is the 11-2 favourite for this race. Answer to Kayf, I think, is very interesting, coming back from the Martin Pipe a year ago. Probably.
Well, he shouldn't have won the other day to weigh 20 lengths. Probably.
Yeah, I'm guessing this has been a long-term plan. Get a sighter of Cheltenham in the Martin Pipe and then come back for a Novice Chase again.
Yeah, but win by four lengths instead of like 20 or whatever he won by. I could not believe I couldn't believe him winning so well.
Yeah.
I think he's not. I think this is like the JLT. I think there's grade 1 horses winning this. I don't think the handicapper is going to win it. I think it's too good a race.
Okay.
This is the best race of the festival, I think, this particular race.
What?
And it's not saying I'm going to pick the winner of it. It's not. The amount of interest in horses in this. It's just, there's so many high quality. That's the beauty of having no top on it. It's better than the old race. The old race is 145 top, wasn't it? Yeah, this is better. Handicapping wise, Nuremberg is absolutely the best handicapped horse in it, not a doubt in the world. That absolutely hosed up in the Galway plate by like 10 lengths on the bright, ran away from everything in the hardest handicap hurdle of the year, and it's like a couple of pounds higher for this.
Well, back for there, Cesar, which is the next start as well.
It absolutely is quality. There's no doubt about it. Beating 8 lengths by Touch Me Not. And we'll ignore the one in Leopard Sound, given that they might have had a kind of an idea what sort of mark that we're going to get. You do not want to wreck it. Joseph O'Brien knows how to get one.
He had ulcers.
Yeah.
He had ulcers that day.
But like, you look at his platform, everything about it, he actually jumps reasonable. I'd expect him to be at least as good over fences. And he's only £4 higher than streaking home in the hardest race to win of the year. The hardest race to win of the year. I think he should be favourite quite comfortably. You know, I don't know what price. We go with the odds comparative. This is another one now where they
7-1. I'm seeing.
Yeah,
with some firms.
see the odd 10-1. See, he nearly is. He's not too far from it.
Jeff is going 10s about Nuremberg.
Yeah, that's the non-run no bet. Now that that's the normal market anti-post. But that said, I don't know where else he's running there. He's running in this, you know, so it might be worth it.
Does he jump well enough?
Yeah, but is he not going to fly up that hill? If it's anything like, he's going to fly up the hill in this thing on good ground. He probably will jump better on good ground as well.
Yeah, that's true.
He's had enough runs.
Oh, sorry, I've just been told by the producer. Sure, he will improve for the application of blinkers and the application of clash.
Yes, he will. And I mean, I didn't give him a chance in that Galway hurdle. He's absolutely. I know half the horses were kind of left at the start in that, but it wouldn't matter. Oh, yeah. None of them had any hope. You know, he absolutely flew in. I had a long-term plan for this, and the long-term plan has gone too well. He has no hope of getting into it. Shanbelly Kid. So I have to go, zero chance. And I couldn't have been more interested in it. I just made a note. I'm just looking ahead, forgetting what I actually had some idea what I was going to look at. Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually. I've more or less, all I can say about it is, because I've tried to look at, I was so disappointed with Shanbelly Kid. Nuremberg is the best handicapped in it. Asian Master might be the best horse in it. I would be unsure of the jockey in this race now. This is like a Galway hurdle. This is going to be the toughest handicap of the year to ride. And this is going to field full of horses that supposedly have a stone in hand. It's just going to be very difficult. Very difficult race for now. And I think I would say Asian Master is better than Tully Hill, but Tully Hill is rated £2 higher. Just the way he finishes, this triple suit him, the Hill will suit him. I like Asian Master as well, but he's too short.
He's a capable rider, and he gave him a good ride in the Supreme last year, and he will be able to claim the £7.
Yeah, but he does look like it's
like you and me riding the horse together.
It's just this race, though. This is going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. And anyway, he's too short. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would have liked him to be a decent price. I'd get interested in where he could have some each way value, because he nearly seems sure to place.
Willie has never had a winner over fences. Tully Hill might do it.
Yeah, he might. He might have Paul on. I mean, he's always kind of looked like a Grade 1 horse. Yeah. He was disappointing a few times, but that doesn't mean he won't do it here now.
Well, he was beaten by Mashborough, and then he was second to Mr. Giff, who was ridden cold. Last time out, he's gotten injured, so you can just forget about that. But he's all right.
2 runs against Asian Master. Asian Master looked a better horse than him.
Yeah,
about worse
true enough.
jockey.
But one's going to have Paul Town, and the other, with the greatest of respect, is going to have a claiming rider.
Yeah, I would fancy now. Right now, you can get 14-1 about Tully Hill. Well, I mean, that racing posting is just on the one high price. Yeah, 12-1, 14-1 wouldn't be of no interest now. He's a capable horse, no doubt about it. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to try and find an English one though, better handicapped. I haven't found it yet, but that's another one for another day probably. Okay, we might talk to you about that on the podcast in the meantime. Yeah. The day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival rolls on to yet another handicap, but it is a handicap that you tipped as a big priced winner in last year in Montmoral, so no pressure on you this year. Betting headed by the Nicky Anderson trained Jericho de Repenay, 7-1. The Wall Park has the option of going for the stairs as well. Will the Wise, who's basically everybody's copped onto now, he was one of my horses to follow at the start of the season. 7s, not so sure I like him at the price, but I certainly do like him in terms of his talent. You're looking for a bigger price though. I am. I kind of have the same horse in mind for this. Now, I actually kind of wanted him to go to Alfred Bartlett because I thought he would suit the Alfred Bartlett. It's Patter Merchant. His run in, where was it? It was a total bog. Navan, Naas, one of those places. He hated, I know he has farm and heavy ground. He visibly hated it. He travelled better than anything, but they still made sure he finished in 4th. They made sure of it. And even if you don't ever look at form at all you need to do with the pretemps is close your eyes and go, what finished 4th in the last Irish qualifier? And if you back that every time, I'm pretty sure you have plenty of the winners of this thing. I think he's a good novice though. I think his 134 is actually fine. He got a couple of pounds. So I quite like him now.
I mean, he was fifth to a Leopardstown specialist in Percival Agarwa prior to that as well.
Yeah, but that wasn't a novice race. That
was
the toughest 3 mile handicap hurdle run in Ireland every year. That race,
and you've got Flicker of Hope in there as well. Who's,
if you look at,
not out of it in the
he cruised around the outside the whole way. He probably ran a furlong longer than everyone else, and then got past. But then stuck on again. That's where I went Alfred Bartlett in my head straight away. I had a few quid on him at like 100 to 1 for the Alfred Bartlett, because I've just seen that kind of horse do well in the Alfred Bartlett before. But that was a tough race. So I was immediately like, that's the one that I kind of I tipped him that day as well. But the Naas race though reminded me a lot of Monmoral last year. Even though he has soft ground form, I don't think in reality he wanted that kind of heavy ground. I can see there he won a flat race, beat Sounds Victoria. That's over 2 miles on heavy ground. I don't think that was still a good run though, beating Sounds Victorious in a bumper. But this year his main runs have been on decent ground. And even the one in Leopardstown, I don't think that was that soft. You know, in Dublin Race Festival, it would be reasonable ground. I just think he'll be suited by better ground. And he just reminds me of the way Monreal looked the same last year, trying to struggle up the straight in Chepstow or whatever it was, in an appalling conditions. And I never wavered from having him in mind for the Cheltenham race from the minute I saw it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm on this one longer. I'm on the Patter Merchant train longer. I haven't backed it or anything.
Okay.
Because he's probably going to be a price. I mean, it'd be 16 to 1, something like that, which is not actually. For me, it's probably a bit longer than I normally would go for. A bit shorter than I normally go for. Yeah, shorter than... But I don't think I'm changing from him. He's around 16 to 1. I think he's going to go off around that. Whether I back it each way or not, sometimes in those kind of 16, 14 to 1, I don't be interested in the place return.
Jeff is going 18s, but again, not running up it.
Yeah, no, he's in the Martin Pipe as well. It would not be out of question the way he travelled the last time that he might suit the Martin Pipe. I think it depends on the ground maybe. I know he's went and qualified for this, and there's no doubt this race is worse than the likes of the Martin Pipe. And say Will the Wise is 8 to 1. I would happily take an even bet that Patter Merchant would beat Will the Wise this time. Well, first of all, he's getting he has a turnaround in the weights from the qualifier, but I just think he's a bit more, they've both run, they're both novices. Of the two, I think Patter Merchant might have a bit more in hand. So he's the one I like anyway.
Okay.
I'm not sure is there anything else from Enid yet. I'd probably try and find an English one, but it's not even though I've had a winner or two of that race, it wouldn't be my best now. It would have been my worst until Monreal last year.
Oh, but it's a nightmare of a race to try and get your head around.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm not mad about the qualifying thing either. But anyway, he's me fairly solid tip in that anyway. And he has been for like good 2 months.
I'm pretty certain my only winner of this race, last year you with Monreal, third wind in 2022 I managed to get, and I'm...
Oh no, I had third wind as well actually.
Hey! Okay. This is your best race.
Go back to change my mind. Change my mind, it's actually my best race. Yeah, Jesus, I forgot about third wind, and I think he was like my only winner the whole festival.
Well, I'm just looking here at Call the Cops, Maldini, Presenting Bercy, Delta Works, Sarda Miss Miller. I didn't have that.
I did have third wind actually, and I had tipped it up as well.
Huey Morrison doing us a nice favour. I'm somewhat interested in Thomas Moore just because I think there is a bit of class there, but he's got a high enough rating, so I need to think more about that one. Ryanair Chase, we finally get a Grade 1 race. We have no idea if Factifile is going for this. There is a rumour he's going for the Gold Cup.
I think he's going for the Gold Cup. I think they're mad to go for this. I don't think they'll go for this. On good ground, he's got nearer than anything to Gallop and Deschamps. And Gallop and Deschamps, a huge amount of stamina may not come into play like it would normally up the hill on good ground. Yeah. I think they'd be mad. I can't see why you want to go for the Ryanair. I mean, he's the second best horse in the Gold Cup, and he prefers good ground more than the favourite, and you can't be afraid of one horse. So I don't know what price he is actually for the Gold Cup, but I wouldn't go. We'll
talk more about that in a second because we can go through a bit of a theory there. But what's your overall thoughts on the Ryanair?
Well, if he doesn't go for it, anything could win. I mean, you're looking at Jungle Boogie. Certain amount of them aren't going to go. Banbridge is not going to go for this. Ile France might. I mean, he's just too short. I can't look at it as 3-1. He's reliable. That was a very good run to King George.
He's burst twice though.
Yeah, it's not. Gaelic Warrior, soft ground. Protectorate, as good as he was last year, I wouldn't be sure this year. I'd be interested in Splan's Tower, but I think they said they're going to entries. You can't really, it's too early. I think you have to see his Fact 5 go or not to even really look at it.
Yeah.
Because he seems very light to me. He's probably a bit better than anything else, a fair bit better than anything else. And my suspicion is he's going to go for the Gold Cup. I can't see logically why you'd want to go for this race when you could go for the Gold Cup. I know is he 8 or 9 though? He's 8.
Why is Envoyalin such a big price?
Because he's getting old, probably. Yeah, he's 11. I mean, I think you would definitely want Factifile not in it, and Protectorate Envoyalin travelled really well last year, and Protectorate whomped him by like 6 or 7 lengths. I'd say that's the main reason. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And like he did beat Hewick early on in the year, but Hewick, as good now as he is not as good as he was. So it probably doesn't look that good now. And like you have Factify and Splan's Tower, younger, more progressive. But even Jello, I mean, the last time I saw that, what did Jello win lately?
He won the Denman.
Yeah. In my mind, I go, God, is he in the Gold Cup? I was just wondering the way he finished the race. See, I think so. Then I think it's going to be difficult for the older horses to win it. I think there's too many young horses in it. I can't see any of them. Jungle Boogie, even though he's 11, he's unexposed. I don't know, is he really going to want proper good ground?
Yeah.
The forecast is just going to be good ground for everything. So I think you have to leave it. But one of my main suspicions of the week, which I didn't act on last week when he was 20-1 in the Betfair Exchange, is that Factify is going to go to Gold Cup.
I think he will too.
And I don't have any contacts. I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Can't be afraid of one horse. That's one of the main rules.
I'm also not entirely certain that cutting back and trip is actually going to benefit him. I know that we can talk more about it in a little bit. Hartwood, I think, is interesting at a price. He's unexposed and he's coming into this in the back of a career best effort.
And Henry de Bromhead is probably going to have a good festival.
Yeah, and it sounds like the three of them are going to go: Jungle Boogie, Envoyalin, and Hartwood. So I wouldn't rule him out at all, and he'd be very high, very, very high on the list. Stairs Hurdle. How far does Tihupu win by?
He's me lay the festival. Without a shadow of a doubt.
War.
The most overrated.
How
in
dare
training.
you? I challenge you to a duel.
The most overrated horse in training, I think.
Why?
Because he beat a couple of old pensioners last year, and he couldn't win the year before when he should have won.
Well, that was
an even older pensioner, like he was third behind Sarah de Burle, Dashel Drasher. That is nowhere near good enough for him. I have him down as the most overrated horse in training anywhere.
So there's a lot of these races that I'm looking at, and I was talking to you about this beforehand. With the exception of Jeff Banks Bet, there's no value in the anti-post betting markets anymore. Last year, I was pot committed to this fella at a pretty decent price. I've had no interest in the Stairs Hurdle yet, so I'm open to be persuaded to go and look elsewhere. And right now, the horse that would stand out to me is Mystical Power at a big price.
Yeah, if he goes for it, I haven't heard much about it. You'd wonder, is he going for it? Or
the fact that there's been not much talk about him makes me a little bit worried. But 33-1 about a Supreme Novice Hurdle runner-up and dual Grade 1 winning Novice Hurdle.
But he's probably, what is he? I bet you he's much shorter in the non-runner no bet, is he?
I would think so. About 16s.
Yeah, he's 20 though. Kind of half interesting, all right.
Out of any power?
Yeah, no, there'd be nothing wrong with him now. He would interest me. But I mean, I was even coming down on the likes of Crambo and these horses just because there's not a lot of difference between his farm and Deep. Deep was just won more races, but Crambo's beaten the same older gentleman a few times as Teepu has done, but he's 33-1. I don't know what I'll go for on the day. I will be going for something. It won't be Teepu, and he won't be in any one of those
any one of the
multiples, not one of them. Because first of all, it's good ground.
The official going at Cheltenham today is soft. I don't know how.
Well, they've obviously been watering the hell out of it for months. It doesn't matter on the day. Like the forecast is reasonable. I think
it's good, and the new course drains unbelievably well.
Yeah, it's going to be good to soft. And if it doesn't rain at all, the festival will definitely be good ground by the time this race runs.
Which will not suit Teahupoo.
No, I don't think there's much between him and Home by the Lee. Home by the Lee hasn't really had a great run in this race either. A couple of times, but it's a poor stairs, so it is.
Okay,
no matter what. But yeah, it could be right about Mystical Power now, right? But I'll definitely be going something each way. I haven't quite landed on it yet. I kind of was looking at it today. I was half interested in Cranbo, right? Just because he's not really a 33-1 shot. There's not a lot of difference between a lot of these horses. There's the likes of Rocky's Diamond, maybe. Lucky Place can't have that at all.
Neither can I.
I think the whole world and his mother's talking about that. I don't know where to get that from. I wouldn't think that has any chance. Wallpark is far more likely, I would have thought. What price is Wallpark? See, they don't really know. Is he going to go for the... he's 10 or 12 to 1. Well, I would definitely prefer to back Wallpark at 10 or 12 to 1 than to Teahupoo at evens. Anyway, that's for sure. All day, every day. I don't like Teahupoo in this. You never know.
I picked up on that.
Yeah, we see what happens.
Okay, the plate. Who's on your shortlist?
Yes, one of my I've this one in mind since forever. Ginny's Destiny. Not even looking at any other horses in it.
This is another Paul Nicholls special.
Yeah,
he's tried with him.
This is way more obvious, though.
He's tried with him, and the horse has been beaten on merit, but now has suddenly become well handicapped.
Yeah, he is. He's really well handicapped. I mean. And he's been beaten, he beat and was beaten by Grey Donnan last year, and he was second to Tate Thomas. Like, that's light years clear of anything in this race form wise, and he's not top weight.
Yeah.
I'm not the least bit worried about his last run. To me, given that this is a race for front runners as well, his last run was a hell of a lot better than finishing 10 of 11. Now he led most of the way, and with a horse like that, the minute the race was over, it's shut down and stop, which is fine. There has to have been I just have it in my mind that Paul Nicholls says that he thinks, likes him, he's not going to win. Is he 9? I think he's not going to win a Grade 1 race. He probably, once he didn't win the Paddy Power early on, that's that figured out. He needs to lose as like the guts of, what did he lose? £10, something like that.
Yeah, he was
155. Yeah, he needs to lose the get down a bit and go for one big day, and it'll be this, and I really fancy him.
So he won a novice handicap chase last year of 147. He's on 149, which is fine.
And I mean, you can rule out any Irish horse in this for the first thing you can do. I also don't like the Crabiddy. Should have been winning last year. Jaguar, don't like him. Firefox won't run in Springwell Bay. He's too high. I haven't found a horse that can win it yet. American Mike, no way. Jazzy Matty, no, he's not good enough. Safuer, no. I'm going down top of the market down here, and I'm not finding anything that can win this race. Gerrymand, maybe. He's gone up a lot as well, but he's also come down a couple of pounds. He'd probably be in good ground. He might be good. I don't think this is that great, which will also bring me to the other Paul Nicholls horse. I will be going with both here. Il Ridotto. Hosed up. Was that the Paddy Power that he won? November, that's the Paddy Power. Yeah, he hosed up in the Paddy Power.
He's a good horse.
141. A couple of old lols around the back since, and he's back down to English Handicapper Special 144 or something, 145, which he has also won off before and ran really well off before. He's well capable. I had him last year as he was like my NB, whatever the hell that is. He's my second best bet. I was a bit disappointed, but I don't think he really likes soft ground. I think he wants good ground. So there's no way in the wide earthly world he's a 33-1 shot either. He'd be running for his life here, just because it's the old formula. Those 2 mile 5 things around Cheltenham, every one of them, most competitive race of the year after year after year, same horses in them all. Do you know what I mean? So he would actually be one of my, if I was having 5 handicap horses, 2 of them are in the one race there.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing what Gavin Lynch has to say on the show about the Kim Muir he put up. I know the way you're thinking is one of his best bets of the festival last year, so no pressure on you. Can you follow in Gavin Lynch's footsteps and give us the winner of the Kim Muir? You're
definitely going to get a shorter price. What did I have? I don't think I've really anything for this yet, because
Jeff Banks bet goes one that 10-1 Midnight Are Fred, 10-1 Sama Jest as well, who we know Derek O'Connor is going to ride, not Patrick Mullins, which I think is interesting.
It's a race I struggle to look at until I can see the actual field, just because of the the Ultima link. Do you know what I mean? It makes it. I think it makes it very difficult. I wouldn't be touching any of those ones that are near the top of the market. Not in this race. I know it probably has a good record for the top of the market. Let me have a quick look. Had I come across something? I hadn't. I'm going to leave this one. I don't really fancy anything in it. I tell you, if Bustleton, if for some reason they don't run the cross country, he's handicapped well anyway in any of these races, and it will suit him. But whether the Jerry Cole Rock as well, I haven't got anything in this. I did come up with something. We were doing the podcast the other day, and I was looking at this thing live like this, and I went, "Why does Jitmaker stick out?" I went to myself, and then I looked, and to say I got to be excited with the handicap mark and the farm would be an understatement. But he's not running it.
Oh, balls.
He's going to the worst race of the year.
Which one?
The most depressing race of the year, the thing in Hunting when Uttoxeter and
the Midlands Grand National.
Apparently he's going to that. So I mean, he can go for it. I don't know how he's not going to this instead. I mean, he was second to a Gold Cup horse. He was second to I know the way you're thinking last year, and then was third in the Scottish National, and is on the same mark only in England. There you have it in one snapshot of English handicapping. Second at the Cheltenham Festival to a horse. I know the way you're thinking. Is he not going to the Gold Cup or something now?
Yeah. There's serious word that he's going to be supplemented.
And then third in like a £200,000 Scottish Grand National and on the same mark. How does that happen? That's just outrageous. But I would give him a great chance. He'll obviously have a great chance in that yoke, but I won't care because Cheltenham be over. I hate that race because I'm on the boat watching it and I'm on the way home.
Yeah. I'm normally just hungover after celebrating the wrap up, and you're just exhausted. It's like you're watching it, but you're not really watching it. Triumph Hurdle betting is headed by East India Dock now. Very interested that Luamba continues to drift. East India Dock 15-8 with Jeff Banks bet. Luamba 2-1. Hello Neighbour, I think, has got a fantastic each way chance at least, and you might get the sweep 11-2 with Jeff Banks bet. But that being said, East India Dock has sailed up that hill.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best 4-year-old. I think he's I think he's going to win this. I think East India Dock. To me, he just looks too good, and especially on decent ground, he's fast. He flies up the hill. He hurdles well. Like Hello Neighbour is definitely good, right? But as much as I like Galileo Dame, and I do, I'm not sure about why he beat there, and he didn't beat him that well in that Irish. I have no time for the Irish. I don't think I have any time for that Irish 4-year-old farm now. I'm not sure.
Really?
I don't think there's nothing between Galileo Dame and Hello Neighbour anyway for a start. He might only be doing enough. Lads love saying that. You know, It is true. And what price is he? It's actually not bad because I don't think there's many with a chance in this, realistically.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But I just think that East India Dock has looked absolutely brilliant, and he just seems the type to me that's going to skip up the hill, and I wouldn't give Luamba any chance at all, really. I don't know whether he's going to be going, but I mean, Galileo Dame does seem kind of too big a price. Is that going to the other race or something?
No, she's going for this, unless they do a complete crazy Ivan and go back. They want to go for this race because it's a grade one.
So why would you have that at 20-1 when the other one is? I wouldn't.
Don't know. She's totally unexposed, and all the talk in the lead up to the DRF was Hello Neighbour was going to win, and Galileo Dame was working the house down and was going to go extremely close.
So you have a 95-96 rated flat arse getting £7. There's just no way. No way would I go for Hello Neighbour over Galileo Dame in a million years. You couldn't. You just couldn't. It doesn't matter what. It's just too big a difference. It's just too much. And I think East India Dock has ruled out any of the other UK horses winning anything because he looks so good. I mean, Luamba is unexposed. I had though when I did watch, who did Luamba beat the first time? That Mondo Man.
Mondo Man, and he pulled too hard that day.
Yeah, but when I watched that, I wanted a price for the Triumph.
Mondo Man.
Yeah, I wanted a price for the Triumph of in the 40-1 range. Where is he? We have a look here. I think he is that.
Well, he's been beaten since at Kempton, so
yeah,
he's
but that's what I'm talking about. No, when I seen him beaten at Kempton, I was interested.
40-1 is the price Jeff Banks will give you.
Let me have a look now. Wait, see will he run or not? He could be an entry type. You see, the way. Yeah, you get 33-1 and non-runner no bet 40. I would be more interested in that than a lot of these now. I think the race got away from him a bit last time. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a lot better in the Triumph. I would have him not as 40 to 1 shot. I can probably assure, at the moment, the way that is, even though I really like East India Dock, right? Giving £7 to Galileo Dame, or is it what? It's less as a 4-year-old. What is it? 5? No, 7, yeah. Who's a very solid flat horse. Probably doesn't win enough. She's a lot of twos.
Well, she was a better flat horse than East India Dock.
Well, so I thought, wasn't she? But she was backed for the Oaks and stuff. She's a proper horse. And Mondo Man, although he's probably, he might have a bit of a fake French mark, which he probably does. Yeah, I mean, he was 4th to Celt again. That was in the King Henry. That's decent. In fairness, that is decent.
Oh, no, he was a good flat horse.
Yeah, Euphrates went and
posed up in grand off the flat, yeah.
That was too much to pay for him. Like, you'd want to be going for the Melbourne Cup or something as well. And maybe they are now, in fairness. So, of those, I probably will end up... I don't think I'll change much and going on a small win betting Galileo Dame and an each way and Mondaman. That's, I'd made up my mind while I was actually watching where he was third the last time.
So from a small field to a big field, strong, fast pace.
I just couldn't put a finger on it. But I thought he looked like a horse that had more to give. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's only going to get better. Remember, he had a few runs on the flat. So, what, 8 or 9 runs on the flat.
Well, I mean, he's 111 horse on the flat. He's miles clear.
But that's the fake French rate. I wouldn't mind that. And although he ran in that good race, he's
8 lengths off Cland again.
I think he'd be the one I'd be going for each way. But I would not let Galileo Dame and Hello Neighbour have that much of a difference in price. First of all, she does look like something that will go up the hill.
Yeah.
She does get the head down. She comes from the back, all right. But each way as well, if you think about her, so say East India Dock is what he looks like, miles too good for everything. To me, he looks like a really good hurdler. If Lulamba and Hello Neighbour and those go after East India Dock, which they'll have to, because they have intentions of winning the race, Galileo Dame's going to pass the most of those. You know what I mean? If we get an each way price, she will. So, but her and definitely Mondo Man. We see what happens on the day. Mondo Man could go up any price between 20 to 1. I'd have no interest, and 50 to 1. I'd have a huge amount of interest. You know what I mean? You don't know. I don't think Galileo Dame is now. We're going back to look at that price again. I don't think she's gone off at anything like that price.
She is currently 20 to 1 with Jeff Banks bet,
and she's 16 to 1. No bet. Like, the place part of it is probably still not but the win side of that now looks value. I think that looks proper value now.
Yeah. Well, Kate Young was saying something similar on the podcast last week.
Yeah, I can't see why. You don't need to do an awful lot of analysis to go, well, one is 5 to 1 and the other is 16.
And horses who've been beaten in the Spring Juvenile have got a great record in the Triumph Hurdle.
And so do fillies, I'd say.
Yeah, Lassie Mouth was beaten in the Spring Juvenile. She goes and wins it. Burning Wind.
Well, Burning Victory. I thought I'd win the Mayor's Hurdle the year after. It was my most confident bet in years. Anyway, we'll forget about that horse, right?
All right, to the County Hurdle.
Which is the shortest conversation of the week.
If he turns up,
he just wins. There's I won't have any bullshit about it. Absurd. He's way too good for most of these. I have no doubt about it. I think he's in the top 4 or 5 hurdlers. He's probably next. I wouldn't be surprised if he beats Stateman right now on good ground, but that's because Stateman isn't as good as he was.
Yeah.
I think he's better than the rest. I think this is a proper nearly grade 1 hurdler. And if you think of beating what's his name last year, Load of Sod. Now the Skeletons had that a good stone in hand, and it's proved it now over fences like 150 something, right? It's absurd. He's got 5 or 6 pounds. But they couldn't go mad because he didn't run in Ireland. They had the handicap him on his English run last year where he only won by a length with hardly a touch of the whip and him jogging past everything. It was the most funnest watch since Wicklow Brave, I have to say, right? But because I'd banged on for so long about the thing. Do you know what I mean?
He was your nap of Cheltenham last year on the Final Furlong.
No, of course he was, yeah. But I'd actually lost confidence though when I saw the ground. I did now.
Oh yeah, so did I.
And I had hardly bet for a fella who had been going on about since before since the DRF, I got really sure of it because he was first after Ballyburn on soft ground, and he looked like easily the second best horse in that race. I think King of Kingsfield somehow got past him, but I wasn't the least bit worried about King of Kingsfield, and he was heavily backed for it last year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
but I just think on good ground, especially, he should be miles clear of that mark. I have him mid 150s comfortably, and even on kind of form, it's not like I don't get it. I mean, he's beaten. He beat that run in Chester where he's beaten that Case Carster, who has went on and run really well a few times after, and Samui. To say he won that with about a stone in hand, he's in the top 4 or 5 stayers as well. And I mean in a Group 2. I don't mean anything to do with handicaps. I was confident enough in the Melbourne Cup, but it's not 100% sure he'd stay in that race. But he did not get the greatest passage there. You know, even though the winners, the first and second, came from a similar passage, he did not get an ideal one there.
That far.
No, he wasn't. No, and I thought for a minute he was going to do it, but there was so much effort involved in getting from where he got first. He was too long trying. Do you know what I mean? If he's held longer next time, I would still really fancy him for that. But he's going to be sharp priced for that. But I look at his form and I'm going, he's one of the best 2 mile hurdlers in training on good ground for sure. But apparently he's not going, so it doesn't really matter. Which just, I mean, I said last year, I was saying then, okay, but obviously he's going for the Galway hurdle. Who the hell is beating him off his Irish marker 144? It's impossible. He just wins it. But they never did. You know what I mean? They went down the flat, and somebody, I as I said, I have no contacts. Somebody mentioned that he's just going to go for the Galway hurdle because it tallies in with going for the Melbourne Cup better than trying to get him this early, considering the Melbourne Cup is like November or whenever it is. It's probably a long time to keep him fit. Maybe they think him having the runs early on the season was a really long season for him last year. They have one target this year, obviously, because you get more money for finishing 5th in the Melbourne Cup than winning any race at Cheltenham, no matter what it is. Do you know what I mean? And he's a chance of winning it. Well, you know, he definitely has a chance of winning it. So that's the only problem. But not runner, no bet. I mean, I don't want to be saying things like fill your boots and that kind of thing, but to me, he's too good for most of those horses. But as I said, he's not going to be running, so it doesn't matter. I do like another one.
Okay.
And I found out today that he's going down the Wicklow Brave route, and he's not dissimilar. He's not dissimilar kind of horse in that he's a nuisance at the start.
No, Aidan.
Yeah, I like this Batman Dirac.
Oh, come off the stage,
because
man.
He's looked good once, basically.
Yeah, once.
He's looked good once, but I've had a look at all these races and nothing has gone right afterwards either. And I think he was travelling well. And where did he fall in that race at Dublin Racing Festival?
At the DRF behind McClory.
Yeah, he was keeping on. He was only a couple of lengths down in that 2 mile handicap. That's a good bloody race.
That's a good point. And he was making headway too.
He was. That's a good race, right? And it's a good pointer to the county, that race is, because it's very similar. And I just think he's possibly miles well in. I remember they really liked him now. He went off.
They thought he was a Triumph Hurdle horse.
Yeah, he went off relatively short for the handicap one.
Yeah, they backed him for the Fred Winter last year. He was 10-1, but I'd had Patrick Mullins on the show a couple of months prior to that at the start of the season for the Big Ferry House preview, and they'd taken him to the curve for a gallop and they loved him. Yeah,
no, he definitely has a bit of quality. There's no doubt about it. He just is like similar to Wicklow Brave was. If you remember, Wicklow Brave was a pain in the arse. He didn't start twice,
a nightmare of a horse.
And he was a nightmare. But I had been going on the Vautour. I'd been taking a view that was the best Supreme probably ever, and he was first after him. So I'd taken the view that he was the best horse in the handicapped anyway. But he's a bit similar in that he's a head case, but I think he's well handicapped. And if he goes for it, I did perk up when I see him in the Imperial Cup. It's not really like Willie Mullins. You don't do that often now.
No,
that he thinks something is so well in. They can take the £5 penalty and go for that. And I think he's his only entry. It's just, do you know what I mean? It just sticks. Now, he's not a big price for the Imperial Cup, and I will fancy him for it.
He's a 10-1 shot for the Imperial Cup.
It's funny, like racing in the UK, like he's like number 3, which is kind of outrageous. Do you know the way? Like
he's third in the handicap.
Yeah. But Raffadil is that possible?
No, he's not.
There's something wrong with
there's no handicap.
No, they've got the thing wrong. That's why. Yeah, they've got it wrong there.
I was going to say he couldn't possibly.
He couldn't be. Yeah, he won't be. What's his actual mark?
I think it's 135.
He'd be getting like a stone off lump sum.
Yeah, 135.
Which I'd be happy. Is it 129? No,
135 in the UK.
Oh, I thought they haven't updated that yet. Bloody Racing Post site. But looking at the race, go Dante. No, he had his chance a few times. Lump Sum is a very good horse, but he's got a lot. He's 147.
Yeah,
he's the reason now I like the other. What's the Lump Sum? Who did he beat? I do like the Steel Ally, right? Because he's better handicapped. I'm not sure if he's probably not going to this. He's not. Doesn't look the greatest Imperial Cup now.
No, it doesn't.
It does not, and I think I'm nearly hopeful that he does the similar kind of thing and just stays on well and just needs more runs to kind of...
Doesn't win the Imperial Cup, but then comes in...
Then, he goes out to 40-1 or something. Something like Wicklow Brave did exactly the same thing. He butchered... Wicklow Brave is not... It was easier then. You could discount that run because he started... He was like a hurdle behind.
Yeah.
And Ruby just pulled him up after halfway. So he basically hadn't to run at all. It was like a training spin. But... Now, not compare. Obviously, there's a huge gulf between the Brave turned out to be a Group 1 winner on the flat. It's totally different. But it's not a dissimilar type. He probably thinks he needs another run in a race like that. And he's after running. But that's why he's third favourite for the Imperial Cup, because of the run in Dublin.
Yeah.
It did stick out. So I would quite fancy him for... I'm hoping he doesn't win that, because if he wins that, he's favourite for the county.
Oh, instantly
favourite.
Yeah. Instantly he will be.
And it's not like I'd be that interested in backing him now at 25-1 either, because I would have had thoughts of him being in much bigger price even for this.
Well, it's interesting you talk about a horse who's marked 135, because I think Dan Skelton has played an absolute blinder here with Valgrant.
No, yeah.
The problem is
when you're not getting paid for it.
No, you're getting 8-1.
Yeah.
But for a horse that was rated 140 when he was second in a Grade 2, to a horse who would go on to win a Grade 1 and that you quite like to run a big race, to now get him down to 134. Chef's kiss, Dan Skelton. That horse will take some beating.
But I'm just comparing them to, so that he would have thought that last year as well, because Load of Sod was 135. Like it's similar.
If you watch back, the most interesting thing about the replay of the County Hurdle last year is Harry Skelton's face when he crosses the line. He cannot believe he's been beaten by a Willie Mullins horse. He's got a stone in hand there. Yeah.
And he did have a stone in hand.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, Mare's Chase.
I don't think I've actually looked at this, have I, at all?
Well, Dino Blue's a red-hot favourite, and I'm not sure she should be. Now, maybe on better ground she'll be able to get up the hill, but...
I think it's poor. I think it's poor, and I've usually gone for something at a huge price in this. I don't know yet. I'll end up going for some. I don't mind this. She could be anything. She ran a lot of times and ran too many and has had a bit of a break now. I don't mind that, at being at a big price. I think Dinah Blue is definitely not as good as she was. Allegory Devassi is totally inconsistent. So the first two, like Dinah Blue should be she should be a stone clear of these. And just on form, she is the best horse in it. I don't think she's been as good this year, but I'm not sure what's going to beat her either.
Well, Bioluminescence won't go on the ground. Smithlebury apparently is going to
Limerick Lace, same. No
she's
way
gone, I think.
Yeah. What's in it? You're struggling. I mean, somebody mentioned to me a panic attack the other day. Surely not. I can't see it.
But they'll go for a handicap with her.
Yeah, I can't see any of these. But I think that's her limit anyway. I don't think she will even win a handicap. I will end up going for more something like, again, Willie Mullins. I've seen a couple of these.
I wouldn't be shocked if my old friend Royal Margot runs a big race. She travels
probably
real
something.
well.
I tell you one thing, something is getting involved in this at a huge price.
Yeah.
I think. I don't really. The only thing is, even Dana Blue, if she's winning £7 her best, probably still win this anyway. And the problem with your play side is Allegory Devassi, bad and all as she is some of the time, still gets placed in it, which kind of makes the play side not as interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like, say, Hotoria or whatever it's called. I've seen that run the odd time. It's run well enough to be kind of half involved. Jesus. And it's like 100-1. But I'll wait till the day. We don't know whether that's really going or not. But a lot of these I don't really like. I mean, really, I'm talking with a really Dana Blue probably just sense of it still could be between the two of them, even though I don't like either of them.
This race should not be at the Cheltenham Festival. This is absolute garbage.
No, I don't mind. I've enjoyed some of them. Some of the best. There's been some brilliant races.
It's garbage. This year it's garbage.
It's not great.
I'd have zero interest in. Yeah, don't get me wrong. We'll be having a bet on the day for sure, but nothing would stand out to me at the moment. I was almost talking myself into Allegory Devassi and remembered you've lost fortunes on that horse the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You're hardly going to go and do it again.
He's not consistent enough.
Yeah. Potato race. This is the one now where a big priced horse is going to win.
Yes,
so.
and this is my actual best race, I think. Well, no, the county probably, but this second best because I've had the
Stellar
two.
Story last year.
And Very Wood at 50-1 a couple of years ago. So I've had a couple in this, and I've had a couple at the big, because I think you can often get a big price horse into the places in it.
Well, if Patter Merchant goes for this, he's 100-1 with Jeff Banks' bet.
I'm all in each way if he's not under no bet. I would like Patter Merchant in this. He's not going to go for it. He's going to go for the.
Okay.
So he's qualified. Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you go for this? And it's just the way he travelled, and he's the type of horse that I would like in this. I mean, there's a few others. This horse like the Enabler, I don't think he'd stay. We don't know what race he's going for. Bill Joyce, maybe. There's too many. I haven't, because I had not looked at this, because I was just going to be going for Patter Merchant in it, and I was delighted with the 100-1 or the 80-1 that he was. I had no interest in anything else. I kind of haven't come up with anything else in it. I originally liked Wingman in it. Now I have put up on my own site though. I have put up a Trixie of Henry de Bromhead, winners of the Novice of all three, but unfortunately Cocktail Divan was poor. The stable was very poor when he ran a couple of weeks ago, but he hosed up in the maiden today, so he's not running in the middle one. He wouldn't win it anyway. But I do fancy, but the price is gone. I put them, they were up. Big Westerner was like 12-1, and the thing in the first, what's his name, the Workforce was like 12-1, 14-1 as well. So I have a kind of a Trixie, which is really a double now because Cocktail Divan's not going to be running. And they're both good. I think they're both similar horses. I think the Big Westerner was really impressive the last time. She looks like she has absolutely loads to give, and she'll be getting the £7. The Yellow Clay's not going. Final Demand's not going. Jasmine DeVoe, no thanks. Flicker of Hope, never heard of it, and I'm not messing. I would right now have Wingman definitely the second best horse in that race without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, which makes that price. That's an interesting as a win bet. I mean, I'm not interested in him each way at. See, so he's only 10-1. There must be some chance that he's going for the Turners as well. Maybe there's some reason. Oh no, it's not. It's the Martin Pipe.
Yeah.
No, it's Martin Pipe. There's a chance he goes for Martin Pipe, I think. That's why he's bigger that way. I do like him though, and he could win either of those.
He can't go for it. He's only had 4 hurdle starts.
So why is he? Are they thinking of the other race?
This is definitely the race he's going for. Gordon said it the other day as well.
Oh yeah, well I like
and
him.
He's 16-1 with Jeff Banks.
I think he's the actual second best horse in that race easily. That's going to run in it. Yeah. So 10-1 doesn't sound too bad then. Do you know what I mean?
His form with Final Demand and the Yellow Clay, 2 horses who could end up fighting out the finish of that Grade 1. That's going to look red hot.
But he was also a lot better the last time. He'd improved. And I don't think he wants that really soft ground either, even though he's done well in it. I think that's what he wants. Yeah. I like him now. And before I'd seen the Big Westerner...
He beat a smart horse on good ground in the middle hurdle that 40 coats for Henry.
Before I'd seen that Big Westerner's last run, I was getting kind of confident now on Wingman, and I'd liked it. His previous run, he travels well in front. I reckon, and to me, he looks like a stayer. He's not very fast in the finish. Yeah, but you might need that here. He could go to the front and metronome the whole way. And I don't know. I'm not sure what's good in this race that might catch him. I mean, kind of half interested to sound victorious as well. I don't think that's going to go off a big price though. It's a bit of a decent price now, but he looks like a proper dour stayer. He's kind of ideal for this. 20-1, 25-1. Might get interest in him, but for the moment, in this one, at the prices they are now, I'd be nearly more interested in Wingman for the win than anything else in it.
I think Argento Boy is a huge player. Second to the Big Westerner, then bombs out in hurdle, comes back. Bolts up by 15 lengths when he's an odds-on shot, and you're getting, please hold call, 40 to 1 with Jeff Banks about. This is surely the race they go for. Experience of Cheltenham last year, having run in the champion bumper.
Yeah, there's a few. I'll be interested. Of course, I'll be always looking at the Ryanair colours in this, just because I've had two winners at enormous prices. And anyway, they tend to have, all their horses are, stayers. So they tend to, even the second or third choice of theirs is often good in it.
Well, their best is probably Jacob's Ladder, but it'll be a quick turnaround, and he probably prefers
that's
soft
not
ground.
ideal for a stayer, I don't think. Not for that race, anyway.
No, for sure. Okay, so final selections for the potato race?
Yeah, no, Wingman a win price at the moment. Even though I'm already on the other thing in a Trixie, but it was like 12 to 1. I'm not sure I'd want to back her at 4 or 5 to 1 now.
Yeah, I think the
really
price
sure.
is gone, especially in this race.
Yeah,
they're always a big price.
Short, yeah, it's too short.
Spoke to James Reevely about his horse JetBlue as well today. You can find out about that on the Final Furlong podcast. Gold Cup. How far does Galopin Des Champs win by? Unless it's good ground, in which case can Factifile beat him for the second time?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Well, I think he's the main chance. I mean, if it's good ground now, Banbridge is going to get competitive. He has 2 against him. I would not like to be taking 1 to 2 about Galopin Des Champs.
And I love him, and I want to see him win. But
but it's not like he's not. He doesn't win every race. He's won a couple of soft ground. Was the first Gold Cup was a soft ground? I don't think it was.
Yeah, his 2 Gold Cups have been soft ground. The previous 2 Gold Cups were running good ground.
And all the Leopardstown races have been soft. And he lost to Fast or Slow in Punchestown when the ground. And he's lost every time. Has he ever won on good ground? He's beat Factify good to Eden in Leopardstown this year,
which is good to soft.
Yeah. There's no way I'd be wanting to back him at 1 to 2 with the current forecast. Not in a million years. And I would imagine Factify should be going for it. Banbridge, even though he looked like he was really staying in the King George, if you remember, every time he is like one of those kind of followers a bit. He will probably take off after anything. If you remember, there was one. I was at Dublin Racing Festival a couple of years ago, and Banbridge was beat. He was like 6th, and he was like 20 lengths behind, and he ended up making like 19 of those lengths up. And he ended up finishing 3rd. He looked like an Alfred Bartlett horse. I remember thinking he ended up winning the Martin Pipe instead. But he's just that type of horse. Do you know what I mean? Problem with that in the Gold Cup is they're going faster for longer. I wonder would he stay, even though visually you think, oh, look at the King George, but he had a horse to chase.
I think he'll get too far behind.
Yeah, I think he might. I think he might. I think they'll be going quick enough. I think Galopin Des Champs, Paul Townend will probably want to make sure it's a staying race, because he hasn't many to beat in this. It's not like before. He will only really be worried about Banbridge, and I think Factifile will go for it on good ground. To be mad not to. It also won't suit Monty Star. Corbett's Cross is going to be too slow. Grey Dawn is not going. Grange Star Rest just ran, which makes it kind of an easy pick for the best each way value in it for sure. Is undoubtedly his long press in this. But whether he goes in the... Well, his record on good ground is decent as well. The long press kind of goes on anything. When I look at his long press, looks like a really good each way price in this. But basically, anyway, I think Factifile should go for it. I would not be surprised if it did. I probably would take my small stakes on the 10 to 1 just so I can be sitting there on the day. I don't even have to look at the race. You know what I look at Factifile 10 to 1 happy out. Do you know what I mean? Or he could be bigger on Betfair. I just think he might go for it. And if the ground is good, that's all negative for Galopin Des Champs, all positive for Banbridge and Factifile if he goes. A lot of the other ones have gone by the wayside, really.
I said it on the Cheltenham Exchange podcast the other night. 10 to 1 with Jeff Banks bet about Factifile is way too big. And I went and backed him.
And I'm probably going to do the same thing just for a few quid, just because I won't care about losing me 20 quid. I'm not really that worried about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not big stakes or anything like that. But on good ground, I think he has the form to beat him compared to anything else anyway.
Agreed.
And I'm unsure about Banbridge staying, even though it looks like he might.
He might stay, but will he improve for...
No, I don't think so. And I think Paul Townend said as much after the King George. Ile Francais made balls at the last, so I had to slow down, and then he was gone past. It was all too late. If Ile Francais had done the same kind of jumps he jumped on everything else, I don't think it would have been that straightforward.
Yeah,
that Banbridge would catch him as easy as he did. But anyway, basically, Frank, I would like to back Factifile taking the risk.
10-1.
Yeah,
Factifile.
and that the ground is going to, and I'm willing to lose my few quid if he goes for the Ryanair. But I just have a strong suspicion. I don't know why you would. Doesn't really make sense.
Well, bear in mind, a year ago, I was telling everybody Factifile would win the Grade 1 Novice Chase at Cheltenham 16-1, 10-1. Bloody Turners. So it's possible this is the second year in a row I'm going to get it wrong, but 10-1 for a Gold Cup for him.
Now, well, he can go and win the Ryanair at evens or whatever.
Yeah.
I won't be interested in it. I won't care. Yeah, but I would. Plus, as a spectacle, I want to see him in it because
it needs him.
It does. I especially on the it's the soft ground galloping just wins anyway.
Yeah,
but it will bring Monty Starr into it and things like that. But at the moment, I just want Factifile. He's the one horse in it that, because the Leopard Sound thing now, he finished third there, but he wasn't the third best horse. He was certainly the second best horse.
He was the second best horse.
Mark Walsh.
He stopped.
I don't know how. Did he get any kind of a bad?
No.
I don't. You see, the owner is JP, so you're not worried about JP losing these 30 grand from finishing second to third. He just stopped completely. In fairness, he was right, because if they were going to go for
you're
the Gold
minding him
Cup,
for the next day. I think he's 100% right to do what he did, but that is what he did.
There's no doubt about it. He had no. Once he saw he had no chance to get Gallop and Stamps the way the race is after being run. Gallop and Stamps is gone. You're not going to get quicker. He needs to be right behind Gallop and Stamps before they start.
Yeah.
Running up the hill after nothing is catching. Once he gets going, it's over.
Yeah, I think
so.
He knows
Factifile
that
has to probably pass him. Jumping the last or after the last
I'd
straight
say
away.
he needs to be in front round in the final bend.
Yeah, because what will happen is Gallop and Champ is going to, even on good ground, once the jumping's done, definitely is going to be flying up the hill regardless of the ground. Do you know what I mean? Just he loses his super staying compared to everything else if the ground is good or good to soft or even yielding or anything other than like proper, soft ground.
I think Mark is going to send him on off the final turn and say, right, you come get me. I'm not going getting you. You're going to come get me.
I don't know.
If he gets him, he gets him. He
might do that, but I wonder would he just, it depends on what Paul does. If Gallop and Champ's in front, I'd say rather than going too far back, he might stay right close to him. We don't know, so we'll see what happens, I suppose.
It's going to be a fascinating race.
Yeah, good race.
Any interest in the Hunter's Chase?
Usually I do now. Usually I like the Fox Hunters. Because you can find something. There's been plenty of massive price boat winners and ones against the places. An old favourite of mine that I kind of thought might do me a favour at some stage, and in the end he did in the Scottish National. I was banging on about On the Ropes, and he placed in the Scottish National like 66-1. He's just a dour stayer. He caught the eye a bit last time now against that. Was he second to that Rye Hill? But that race around Naas now, I know it was over 3 mile. That's a lot different. In the Cheltenham Hunter Chase, the Go Quick is a completely different staying that needs than a normal Hunter Chase during the year, I think anyway. And I think he'll be suited by it. It's not like he's left Willie Mullins, but he's with Tom Mullins. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not, he could be in the same gallops as far as I know. Do you know what I mean? So I would still think remember, he was the fastest finisher in last year's Scottish Grand National. That's only, you know what I mean? It's like less than a year ago. And he was miles out the back.
Yeah.
And passed a pile of horses. So I'd be quite sweet on him, I think, in that at around 20-1. You don't really know what price he could go off. He could go off even bigger, maybe. So I like him. It's on the line is another you can throw. It's on the line now into the same bucket as Tehipu.
Big take on horse for you.
Yeah, big. Yeah, I don't like him. He doesn't. Did he not? He didn't win this last year. I don't think.
No, he was beaten.
And he should have been winning it last.
But
year.
he went on to win at Aintree and win at Punchestown.
Yeah, which is a different. But he didn't beat anything in either of those races though. Lifetime Ambition was a grand horse, but he's not like Animix, Benny's King. That's not. There's a huge difference between the Cheltenham one. Now, often the Aintree one is very good as well, but it's just a better race. There's better horses in it. But no, he should have won that last year. I can't see any reason. Soft ground. I don't know why he didn't win it last year. He's got beaten twice this year as well. And he's got beaten by on the ropes by 5 lengths the last time. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't get it. Do you know what I mean?
Angel's Dawn is a Cheltenham Festival winner who was going well against the Know the Way You're Thinking last year, who went on to win a Grade 1 and has bolted up in 2 point-to-points and yet second favourite. That'll do for me.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely the most likely winner of this thing and could be miles too good. I know Nichols is going on about Shearer, but that's not. Shearer was one of the funny things I saw this year. I know, who did he win?
His daughter was training the third place horse. And I asked Ella McNeil about this. Ella owns that horse.
Yeah,
she's on the podcast as well.
Diego Velas that day because I was working. I had it on in the background. I like the 100 chases because often, midweek, they're easily the best horses that are running. Running 100 chases, right? And I said, the guy that rode that, he tried to keep as far as possible away from Shearer. I'd never seen anything like it, right? He did his absolute best to not get too close. And I think he's entered for some old 100 chase. He's obviously not qualified for the Cheltenham one. I think he's entered for something shortly. But that was eye-catching enough. I know he's 12. But he has done it in the past. Wednesday. Yeah, he has done it in the past at a big price. I think I was on him. He was one of my tips 2 or 3 years ago in Cheltenham. Was he second in the Kim Muir, like 66-1 or something? One of those races. And I thought he was a little bit of an eye catcher there. But I think that brings that. I'm not sure Shearer. I'm not sure what much of a chance Shearer has really. I know he's a lot of wins and stuff, but I wouldn't really fancy him. Well, the Derry has beaten Twig.
Third in the Kim Muir behind Chambard.
That was
a 1-3 for Venetia. Yeah. Both of them at massive prices. We need to remember those for the big handicaps as well. I don't think Shearer's out of it, by the way. And Ella was.
No, you'd never know. Other than if Angel's Dawn he's probably as good as he was last year. Really, we don't really know. This has obviously been a target. He could be just too good. He might be one of the better favourites.
That's what I was thinking.
Because the second favourite I can't have at all. I know the way you're thinking or whatever he's called.
It's on the line.
Yeah. I can't have him at all. And the rest of them are much of a muchness. So even though it's bloody I presume who's going to be riding it? Well, it'll be someone good anyway. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It'll be one of the best. It'll be one of the usual suspects. He might be one of the better favourites. Even though 3 mile 2 around Cheltenham, around fences, not ideal, but there's nothing wrong with his farm.
It'll be the same person who rode her to victory at Cheltenham 2 years ago and was on board last year.
Who's that?
King.
Who?
King.
Oh, Daniel King, isn't it? Or what's that his name? Oh, yeah. Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, he stands out a mile in it.
Last race.
Yeah, worst race at the festival for me every year. I don't know if I ever had the winner of it.
You've never had the winner of the Martin Pipe?
Where do you find the thing that tells you the last, what horses won this?
Sir de Champ, Don Poli, Kilultavic.
No, none of them. No, I haven't had one lately.
Gallop on the Champ.
Yeah, but they were all favourites for a start anyway.
Better Days Ahead last year. Thanks, Emma Nagel. She bred him. Didn't have Banbridge, didn't have Iroko, didn't have Indefatigable.
No, I had none of those.
Pretty sure I didn't have Early Doors. Slow by Slow, I definitely didn't have.
No, I didn't have any of them. I haven't had. I go back further than that. I haven't had a winner of this ever.
This might have been a peak race for me. So in the early teens, Sir de Champ, Don Poli, but Gallop on the Champ was a big one for me. All right,
the favourites are winners every year. I've never. Well, I remember one of the best bets I ever made was in that now, and it was placed. Willie Mullins had some grey mare. Trying to remember her name now. But it inexplicably went off like 80-1 and only got passed in the last half a furlong. And I'd made I've been tipping on forums and in the internet for years. I'd made it 2 points each way at 66-1, and this thing must have went 1.5 in running or something like that. Can't remember, but I remember thinking beforehand and saying at the time, this is one of the most overpriced horses I've ever seen. But that's my only.
Well, I lead off then because I have the winner of this.
Is it going to be one of the favourites?
Nope. Bunting.
Oh yeah, God, you're not the only one. Yeah, I think my brother
Bunting will win this race.
Yeah.
He was very impressive at Limerick on his hurdling debut. He then goes to the Dublin Racing Festival. He does all his best work towards the end of that race. Stays on very, very strongly. The winner, Cargizi, goes on to be second in the Triumph Hurdle. The second horse, Stormheart, is second off a mark of 140 at the Dublin Racing Festival in a valuable handicap hurdle. And Majborough is the third horse. He then goes to Cheltenham. He's sent off a shorter price for the Triumph Hurdle than Majborough was. He gets beaten there. He gets beaten at Punchestown. They try him on the flat. That didn't work out. And he's made his seasonal debut at Clonmel, where there was a stable companion who fell at the second last. If that hadn't happened, he probably would have been third. But I'm going to take a wild guess. And this is a guess, Aidan, because like you, don't know. But when the Jockey Club make their announcement that handicap qualifications have changed, you now have to have had 5 runs to run a handicap hurdle, instantly Willie Mullins is going, well, I'm not running any novice hurdlers in those races. So who do I have in my yard that is only one run away or almost qualified and is probably well handicapped? Step forward off a mark of 139 bunting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
And he'll appreciate going up and trip as well. And he has the experience of the new course at Cheltenham. Let's go.
Okay, I'd probably go with that. That sounds kind of interesting, I'd have to say. But I struggle with this until I see the final card. Struggle with it because I never picked the winner of it for a start, but also because of the Carl Cup, I get frustrated looking at it because I'm not sure what race they're going for. Now, I think it might be more obvious this year because there's a lot of high-rated ones in the Carl Cup that won't be going in this race. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it should go down lower, the weights in this. So we'll see. I've nothing. I mean, the Steel Ally I'm interested in. I think I'd nearly prefer him not to be in this. Probably too many unexposed jokes in this. He's kind of exposed-ish. I just think he's well handicapped. If he was a big price, maybe the Carl Cup. We'll see what he goes for. There's loads of horses I've had before, maybe High Wind, these kind of things, but I'll wait until the day. That's not. I used to the old Grand Annual was the last race. It was my best race at Cheltenham every year for years, and I mean years, until the day they changed it to the different course. God, I killed that race for 10 years. That Grand Annual, you could be sure.
Was it completely different dynamic on the new course to the old course?
I don't know what it was. They were the horses with brilliant chance. They were a huge price. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't only me. I split my bets with my brother that now is on the show, Vinny. We go every year to Cheltenham. And he had like 3 winners of it, and I had like 4 over like 10 years. And they were all, the lowest price one was 14 to 1. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason, it needed a specific type of horse. The other one might be the same, but it hasn't been as good. I had a few places and stuff in it, no problem. And when Third Time Lucky wins it this year, maybe that'll help. Anyway, no, that's terrible to be depending on bloody Third Time Lucky. But this
just the 166 to 1 shot to save.
That'll do. Yeah, I haven't come up with that in this. Very unlikely.
Okay, bunting will do for us. So, who is your best bet? Actually, a patent. Let's get a patent from you.
How many horses in the patent? 3. Oh, right, okay. Ginny's Destiny anyway. Well, see, I'd want an each way patent, so I'd be thinking of my most likely Ginny's Destiny for sure anyway, because it's going to be around the 20 to 1 mark. I would have said, I'd have been straight in with Bustleton in the cross country, but I can't now. He's too short. Let me just look through this for a second. It's not runner no bet. I'd have to put Absurd in it. He's still on Betfair. He's only 10 to 1 or 7 to 1 or something. Some people think he's still running. He hasn't been. It just turns your. If he doesn't run, it's not runner no bet. It turns your patent into a double, which I'd be happy enough with. Ginny's Destiny anyway. So Ginny's Destiny, Absurd, and let me just think. I had something else.
Stay Away Faye.
Yeah, I'm not as. That's a huge price. Whether you want it to be in the horse is definitely running in the race, and didn't pull up the last 3 times for a patent. I think. Now, I mean, as regards confidence, I'm most looking forward. He's one of the bets I'm most looking forward to making now. But actually, this Kintara thing, I like Kintara in the Kim Muir now.
Okay.
I like that. I like Stay Away Faye as well. But to me, Kintara seems very, very likely to get involved in that. And it's in the 25 to 1 range, I think, which I like. Stay Away Fay, you could end up with neither Stay Away Fay or Absurd running. Do you know what I mean? Now, I've no in knowing whether Kintara is going to run either, but it does seem kind of obvious. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like they've been making it up for a handicap. It is, it's generally 25-1. If that runs, that's going to be involved in the places, I think. I don't think that's the greatest race. I'm not into this. Now is the hour. All these, they're way too short, all those horses. Captain Cody, they were beaten by 3-card Bragg. But 3-card Bragg is one of my longish term fancies for the National this year. I know he would have been trying it, but he definitely has one target all year, I'd say. And he's not the greatest jumper, which often works in the National anyway. So, you know, I'm not sure what coming second or third to him. It is good, but I say he mightn't be wound up until he's going to scrape into the National just about now. But I'm thinking that's their long-term plan with him. He's not dissimilar to who won it last year. It's kind of similar. He's a very good novice farm. Sort of put away until the National, really. I kind of fancy him in it, and he's a big price.
You like the podcast with Ellen McNeil, we talk about him.
No, that horse as well, 3-card Bragg as well, yeah. Yeah, I like him. I like 3-card Bragg, for the National. But those horses are too short for that kind of race. For a handicap now is the hour. Arkle, Captain Cody, it's very short. I have to have a price for those races. Yes, that'll be it. Those three then. Kintara, Absurd, Ginny's Destiny.
If we can work out which race Jericho Rock is going to end up in.
Yes, my brother is big on Jericho Rock, and I kind of agree with him. Yeah, it looks, you need to know what race he's running, but I would think he's probably going to beat Mike Kintara though, is he? Is that the most likely one?
Well, the Kim Muir's the
novice. No, but he's a novice though.
He's still a novice, yeah.
Oh no, but then he has to run in the National Unchaser.
Do you reckon?
But why would you not? Now, I mean, I know there could be more unexposed horses in the. It didn't look a great race though.
It doesn't look a great race.
It doesn't look brilliant.
Haughty Calor stands out like a sore thumb in that.
But still, though, there's unexposed ones in it though. Whereas the Kim Muir, he might. He's not going to go to the Ultima anyway.
And David's got a good record in the Kim Muir too.
Yeah, I thought we were looking at the other day. I mean, Sam Majestic's favourite for the Kim Muir. Surely not. No, I looking at that race now, that's the one they should be going for.
David?
Yeah.
Jericho Rock, Kim Muir, I know that means we're taking on your horse. Bunting for me as well. And Ginny's Destiny, you've sold me on that. Aidan, pleasure as always. We have a Cheltenham preview on Wednesday night in Clears, which should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's like a quick format. It's 2 minutes race, get it all done, both of us. It worked last year anyway, but God, you never really know.
We'll try and have a bit of crack at that. All right, Aidan O'Hara.
Okay, thanks
so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me here. Really appreciate it. The podcast on YouTube, Festival Focus.
Yeah.
Check that out, and we will talk to you again very, very soon on the Final Furlong Podcast. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
The Final Furlong Podcast is proudly brought to you by Jeff Banks Bet. Get up to £500 refunded as real money for new Jeff Banks online accounts after your first month of betting. Use promo code FFP500 at jeffbanks.bet.